Chapter 276. Actually, what Bai understood the most was that the fastest way to cure a mental patient was to block all the painful memories of the patient. She had spent 3 years on this research and was a very talented scholar. Through continuous hard work and case studies, she was one of the top 10 experts in this field. Perhaps the reason why a mental patient became a mental patient was because the painful memories were too deep. The family of a mental patient loved them too much and hoped that they would forget the painful meeting and live a normal life again. But the mental patient was not willing to come out. Gu Lingxing sped up. She heard his low voice and knew what he was thinking. She quickly wiped her tears. Gu Lingxing kissed her forehead and eyes. He tasted the salty taste and looked at her worriedly. Her eyes were still slightly red. "Why are you crying? Did I hurt you?" Gu Lingxing asked worriedly. Baya shook her head. "No, it's very comfortable." "You're crying because of comfort?" Gu Lingxing did not believe her. "Let me see." He lowered his head. Baya felt shy and avoided his hand. She wrapped her arms around her ankles. "Why would I lie to you? Can't you feel it?" Gu Lingxing's face was full of sensuality because his desire had not disappeared. He sat next to her and rubbed the area under her eyes with his thumb. "Then why are you crying?" Baya did not want to tell him why she was crying. It was because there was no future between them. She lowered her eyes and said softly, "It's too comfortable." He looked at her shy look and finally believed her. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. "Did I make you uncomfortable before?" "No," Baya said with her head lowered. Gu Lingxing carried Baya. She grabbed his arm subconsciously. "Take a bath first, then tell me what you want me to do." Gu Lingxing said domineeringly and put her in the bathtub. The moment she gave herself to him, she was ready to tell him what it was. Gu Lingxing filled the warm water for her. She gazed at him. "I have a friend named Lu Shuang. You know him, right? I know you care about her very much. She has been captured by Shan Yin. I want to rescue her, then escort her abroad," Baya said. Gu Lingxing looked at Baya in surprise. "Why did Shan Yin arrest her? Is there any connection between them? They should be classmates in elementary school and junior high school." At that time, Shan Yin's father wasn't the president yet. He was only the governor, and Lu Shuang's father was already the deputy dean or even the dean, right? Therefore, it was normal for them to study in the same school. Later, when Shan Yin's father rose to the top and became the president, they no longer kept in touch. 3 years ago, Shan Yin held a blind date. "I went, Lu Shuang went, and so did you," Baya recalled. "I went too." Gu Lingxing was a little shocked. Without this memory, he seemed to have missed out on a lot of beautiful memories. Because of some unexpected events, Lu Shuang and Shan Yin had sex. I don't know what Shan Yin was thinking, but he wanted to bring Lu Shuang into his harem. Lu Shuang didn't want to, so he kidnapped her. "If I'm not wrong, Lu Shuang has Shan Yin's child in his belly," Baya said. "You said that Lu Shuang has Shan Yin's child in his belly?" "I'm not sure," Su Jiran told me. Baya had a bad feeling and suddenly became nervous. "Is it possible that Su Jiran wants to frame you through me again?" Gu Lingxing's eyes darkened. "Xiaoya, I promise you that within a month, I will definitely save Lu Shuang. I will be very, very careful. I was framed last time not because of you, but because I was too careless. Don't blame yourself." How could she not blame herself? If it weren't for the fact that Gu Lingxing trusted her, he wouldn't have investigated it clearly. Gu Lingxing said that because he didn't want her to feel guilty. However, she knew in her heart that it was clearer than a mirror. She would be paranoid and get into a dead end because she was emotional or cared too much about something. Save Lu Shuang within 3 months. Lu Shuang was pregnant, so Shan Yin shouldn't hurt Lu Shuang for the time being. If she aborted the child within 3 months, it would be too harmful to her body. "Okay," Gu Lingxing replied. "Take a bath." I also took a bath. They didn't speak, and the atmosphere became subtle. She looked at him, and Gu Lingxing also looked at her. After he was done, he wrapped a bath towel around his waist, squatted down in front of Baya, and said softly, "When are you going to marry me?" "Huh?" Baya didn't expect him to suddenly say this. Her heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was about to jump out of her throat. Gu Lingxing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. We had a flash divorce, and then a flash marriage. Ha! Baya looked at his smile, and her eyes and heart sank. The brighter he smiled, the gloomier she felt. However, cruel words had to be said. After all, she couldn't stay with him for long. Without Su Jiran's needle, she would die faster, and there were still many things she hadn't done. Chief, you're thinking too much. We're just making a deal. Gu Lingqing stopped smiling and looked at her determined eyes. His gaze was deep, and he didn't say anything. Baya also felt that the word deal was too hurtful. She turned her face away, stood up, picked up the bath towel on the shelf, and wrapped it around her body with her back facing him. Gu Lingqing hugged her from behind, and his chest pressed against her back. I don't know why you always reject me so much, and why you don't hesitate to use words that are as sharp as knives to hurt our previous relationship. But I believe that I'm in your heart, so I'll wait for you to let go of your heart and tell me everything. Baya, no matter what you become, no matter how old, how ugly, or how crazy you are, I love you. Even if you become a burden to me one day, I'm willing to carry you on my back and walk to the end of life together. You're not a burden to me, but a companion to me, Gu Lingqing confessed passionately. Baya's tears instantly flowed out uncontrollably. These are the best words she had ever heard. Even though she was crying, her heart was still touched, and it touched the deepest part of her soul. She thought that her tears must have been heard by Baya, who was hiding in the deepest part of her soul, right? So she was sad, she was touched, but she still didn't want to come out because she knew that if she came out, she would face a parting of life and death. She couldn't accept it. Baya wiped her tears handsomely and turned to look at Gu Lingqing. I'm going back. Don't go. Gu Lingqing frowned and pleaded. Chapter 277. She had to go. I'll contact you again, Baya said calmly, expressing her determination. Gu Lingqing frowned. He knew that once she made up her mind, he wouldn't be able to stop her. He could only take a step back. Let me send you. Baya didn't refuse. After all, it would be difficult to leave his place. I'm staying at Xinhua Hotel near Wui Road, Baya said. Gu Lingqing knew that she agreed. Wait for me to change. Asterisk after the two of them changed, Gu Lingqing sent her back. Baya leaned against the chair and looked out of the window. They didn't speak at all. Gu Lingqing's car was getting slower and slower. His friends on electric scooters overtook him. He couldn't help but turn around and give him the middle finger. Other than Baya, who could easily cause his emotions to change, he was quite calm and didn't even look at them. Baya was thinking about something. Later, when she saw that the people on bikes had overtaken her, she looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing felt her gaze and felt guilty. He sped up a little and explained, there's a red light ahead. Oh, Baya responded with one word. When are you going to the military? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya's eyes darkened. She had promised to help him with the test, but it had been delayed until now. If she went to Gu Lingqing's military, Su Jiran would probably be angry. I need to think about it, Baya said ambiguously. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and stopped by the roadside. Baya looked at him, puzzled. What's wrong? Gu Lingqing lifted her chin, lowered his head, and kissed her lips. She didn't push him away, nor did she respond. She looked at him, her eyes almost crossed. She moved back a little. He didn't follow her, only looking at her deeply. She was afraid that Gu Lingqing's gaze would make her heart flutter and sink into it. She turned her face away and pretended to be indifferent to her current emotions. Let's stop here. I have other places I want to go. She pushed the car door open, and Gu Lingqing held her arm. Baya took a deep breath, adjusted his emotions, and looked back at him. Let's see each other every day, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. What he said was a statement, not a question. Baya chuckled. She didn't know why, but his words made her heart ache. Her eyes were trembling, and she used a smile to hide her emotions. Even if we're husband and wife, we don't see each other every day. Don't you need to go on business trips? Don't you have a job? Well, we won't see each other again. My job requires me to travel a lot. 4 times a week, no less. Gu Lingqing said domineeringly, as if it was a matter of course. If he threatened to save Lu Shuang, she would have no choice but to see him every day. She would also feel more pressure, pain, and annoyed. He didn't. She thanked him for respecting her, protecting her, and taking care of her emotions at this time. He didn't mention the deal that she mentioned first. This kind of Gu-Ling-Xing would only make her more and more reluctant to leave this world. 3 times a week. I'm afraid I can't do it 4 times. Baya took a step back and said. A trace of emotion flashed through Gu-Ling-Xing's eyes. He held the back of her head, pulled her to his side, and kissed her forehead. The wet kiss fell on her forehead. It was a kind of trust, love, reluctance, heartache, pity, and deep love. Baya didn't move. She closed her eyes and felt his breath on the top of her head. She had an urge to hug him and respond to his feelings. But she couldn't do that. Gu-Ling-Xing looked at her and said softly, "Be careful on the road. I don't want to give you too much pressure. Contact me if there's anything. Don't think that I'm so weak. At least, I'll do everything to protect you." Baya's eyes were red. If she stayed, she would fall apart. She got out of the car and walked forward quickly. Tears were already flowing down her face uncontrollably. She didn't need him to do everything to protect her. She just wanted him to find a new girl and live a peaceful and happy life. She walked for a kilometer in one breath. She entered the shopping center and ran to the bathroom. She turned on the tap and splashed cold water on her face. She looked up at herself in the mirror. Her fingers tapped on the tap rhythmically. Suddenly, she retracted her hand, clenched her fist, and smiled bitterly. Baya didn't want to forget Gu-Ling-Xing. So, she didn't use hypnosis to block her feelings for Gu-Ling-Xing. She just didn't want her heart. Unfortunately, she hid in the depths of her soul and still loved him. How could she not be moved? She just wanted to be a little more rational, a little more normal, and a little more powerful. Then don't come out and make trouble. Baya was furious. She took the vase beside her and smashed it on the mirror. The mirror broke into pieces and reflected dozens of herself. She looked at the dozens of herself in the mirror and gradually calmed down. She was originally a split personality of Baya. She should do what Baya wanted to do. She shouldn't hate Baya. The cleaner of the shopping center came over and saw the broken mirror and the broken pieces of the vase on the ground. She asked Baya in surprise, "What's going on? Did you see who smashed it?" Baya turned around and looked at the cleaner. "I smashed it. Go and ask your leader how much I need to pay for it." The cleaner looked at Baya with a strange expression. Baya looked back at her coldly. "Then don't run away," the cleaner said. "I won't. If you're worried, I'll go with you," Baya said in a low voice. "All right then, come with me." Baya followed the cleaner to the manager's office. The manager asked about the purchase and said to Baya, "It's a total of 1,000 yuan. I only have 400 yuan on me at the moment. I'm staying at the Xinyue Hotel. Please find an employee to follow me to get the money." The manager saw that Baya didn't have any bad intentions. She had a good attitude, and most importantly, she was pretty. "I'll send you there," the manager said. He sent Baya to the Xinyue Hotel and followed Baya upstairs. When Baya opened the door, Su Jiran was already there. He was playing with his phone and looked at Baya with displeasure. His eyes were dark. Baya walked towards Su Jiran without batting an eyelid. She took her phone from his hand and walked to the door. "Is it convenient for you to transfer the money?" "Oh, sure." The manager also saw Su Jiran and thought that he was Baya's boyfriend. He smiled at Su Jiran. Su Jiran didn't even look at the manager. His eyes were locked on Baya. Baya earned 1,000 yuan and gave it to the manager. The manager tactfully left. Chapter 278. Baya smiled and looked at his cold face. "You and the Su Jiran in my memory really haven't changed much. Where do you think I can go?" Su Jiran saw the sarcasm and coldness in her eyes. That sentence didn't feel the same as the Su Jiran in my memory. It was like a bomb exploding in his brain. He had changed a lot for her. Couldn't she see it? "Tell me, where did you go?" Su Jiran said fiercely. It was as if she would go to hell the next second if she didn't say it. Baya looked at Su Jiran calmly. "To do what I should do." "What should you do?" Su Jiran asked. "There are many. Which one do you want to hear first?" Baya said calmly. Su Jiran couldn't see her clearly. It was as if she was separated by mountains and rivers, and she would disappear in the next second. He desperately wanted to do something to prove that he still had her. Su Jiran lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Bai turned her face away subconsciously. Her action angered Su Jiran even more. He turned her face and forcibly blocked her lips. His red tongue entered her mouth and rolled around wantonly. She was so angry that she couldn't breathe, but she couldn't push him away. The more she pushed him away, the angrier Su Jiran would be. If he used force, how could she escape unscathed? She might as well take a gamble. She kissed him back. Su Jiran was shocked. His eyes widened, and he looked at her in surprise. Bai closed her eyes. She couldn't let him see through her thoughts. Otherwise, she would fail on the verge of success. Su Jiran's eyes shone with passion. He kissed her even more fiercely, and the restraint on his hand loosened. She took the opportunity to turn around and push Su Jiran against the wall. He squeezed her waist tightly and pulled her to his side. She felt his physiological changes. The thing on her abdomen was too hot, like steel. She quickly let go of him and took a step back. Su Jiran held her waist again. The anger in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by a desire that could not be dispelled. His eyes were bewitching and filled with desire. "Xiaoya, I want it," Su Jiran said in a hoarse voice. His Adam's apple moved, his red lips slightly opened, and his breath was uneven. "It's not convenient for me now." Bai furrowed her brows. She was a little worried. She had forgotten to put on the pads. If Su Jiran were to find out, she would probably be doomed. She looked at Su Jiran cautiously. The man's cerebellum was starting to come into play. His brain was indeed not as smart as before. He stroked her red lips. "Use it here." After all, Bai was an adult and had reached the age of maturity. She immediately understood what he meant. She turned her face away. 3 months later, when you were with Gu Lingqing, did you use this to help him? Su Jiran asked. His voice was deep, and his emotions could not be read. Bai did not know why he asked this question. However, if she gave an affirmative answer, Su Jiran would definitely be angry. If he was angry, it would be hard for her to be safe. "My personality is rather cold," Bai said ambiguously. Su Jiran smiled. "I'll teach you slowly in the future. I'll take a shower first. You can change your clothes. I'll take you out at night. Also, I hope you could tell me where we went." It was the same question. Previously, he was at loggerheads. Now it was much easier to talk to him, and the danger was reduced a lot. Bai nodded. Su Jiran let go of her waist, turned around, and walked into the washroom to take a cold shower. Helplessly, his little brother had not been comforted by a woman for a few years. He felt bloated and uncomfortable. He closed his eyes and thought of Bai's kiss just now. His palm was on it. Bai saw that he was taking a shower. She quickly changed her clothes and stuck a fake sanitary pad on it. Her mind was spinning quickly. Su Jiran walked out of the bathroom 15 minutes later. His eyes were sparkling when he looked at her. They were filled with tenderness, ambiguity, and sexual temptation. Bai tried to stand calmly. He hugged her waist again and pulled her to his side. His body was still wet and cold. "Now you should tell me where we went, right?" "We went to see my mom," Bai said calmly. Su Jiran did not believe it. He frowned. "Do you have to dress like this to see your mom?" "She's in my treatment period now. She's recovering well, and she's in good spirits. It's not time for her to see me yet." Su Jiran still did not believe her. He scrutinized her expressionless face. "Why didn't you bring your phone when you went to see your mom?" "I did it on purpose. I didn't want to be disturbed," Bai said confidently. "The person you're talking about, are you talking about me? Or are you lying now?" Su Jiran said in a low voice. Bai smiled sarcastically. There was not a hint of a smile in her eyes. "Do you know why I don't want to say it? Many people always believe what they want to believe and instinctively reject what they don't want to believe. To them, reality is often not important. What's important is the outcome they want. So, Su Jiran, you've already decided on the outcome and have your own guesses. No matter what I say, you won't believe it. To me, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It's up to you." Su Jiran could tell that she was angry. "All right, this matter is over. Every time I can't find you, I'm really anxious like a cat on a hot tin roof. I'll wait for you in your room and play with your phone. I've thought of many possibilities, and every one of them makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to explode." I'm going to explode. I used to be a very confident person, but you made me lose my confidence. Baya lowered her eyes. This world was full of lies, hypocrisy, and cunning. And she, unknowingly, had become the most hypocritical and cunning person. Because of the love in her heart, she killed others. Actually, she was not that great. Su Jiran, don't like me anymore. I'm not worthy of your love, Baya said coldly. Su Jiran held Baya's hand and kissed it. He smiled devilishly. I'm willing to use my entire life in exchange for you to turn back. Even if you don't turn back, we'll be bound together and grow old together. She retracted her hand and continued to lower her eyes. There were too many thoughts in her mind. Let's go eat. Baya followed him into the private room of the hotel. When she saw Xing Batian and his family, her eyes turned cold. Su Jiran always liked to arrange such a frightening event, and he never got tired of it. She had felt a little guilty for lying to him, but now, that trace of guilt had vanished into thin air. Jiran, why did you bring her here? Xing Jinyan was the first to lose his cool. He stood up and glared at Baya as he said this angrily. Chapter 279. When Chang Rian saw this, her face immediately turned pale, and a wave of anger rushed to her brain. She slammed the table and helped Xing Jinyan to scold Baya. Simply shameless. She even wants to snatch her sister's man. Bitches are born of bitches. Baya had been kissed by Su Jiran in public. She was also filled with pent-up anger. More importantly, he was hugging her too close, too hot, and too frustrated. She took the opportunity to push Su Jiran away and stared deeply at Chang Ruyan. She said bluntly, I was born from your husband. According to what you said, Xing Jinyan is a slut. If you marry a slut, then aren't you even more slutty? How dare you? Xing Bachuan roared. He looked at Baya as if he wanted to cut her into pieces. I'm treating my future son-in-law to a meal today. I have nothing to do with you. Get out now. Xing Bachuan pointed at the door. Did he think that she wanted to come? If it weren't for Su Jiran, she wouldn't have wanted to see them. At most, she would just make herself uncomfortable. Baya walked toward the door. Su Jiran grabbed Baya's arm. Baya was instantly enraged. She flung Su Jiran's hand away and glared at Su Jiran. He pulled her into his embrace with brute force and hugged her shoulders. Where are we going? You're my future wife. No matter what, you should stay with me. Su Jiran, what do you mean by this? Tell me clearly. Xing Jinyan couldn't stay calm anymore. He ran over and pulled Su Jiran over. Su Jiran looked at Xing Jinyan coldly. What do you want me to say? Isn't that clear enough? Xing Jinyan widened his eyes and clenched his fists. He felt wronged. How can you do this to me? I waited for you for 3 years and wasted 3 years of my youth on you. Now you don't want me anymore? In the past 3 years, you've earned hundreds of millions, right? Isn't the loss of youth compensation enough? Su Jiran asked. Can a woman's youth be measured by money? What about my feelings for you? How do you calculate that? Feelings? Su Jiran smirked. Have you ever had feelings for me? Or is it a measure of conditions and money? Of course. Why else would I stay with you? After being with you, I've never met another man, Xing Jinyan said firmly. Su Jiran picked up his phone and sent a few videos to Xing Jinyan. Take a look at your phone. Xing Jinyan saw that he was texting her. She immediately took out her phone from her bag and saw the 4 videos Su Jiran had sent. She had a bad feeling and clicked on it. The first was her leaving the bar with a foreign man and entering the hotel. The second was the whole process of her party in a private club. The third was the scene of her and a few men in the hotel. The fourth was the scene of her doing something indescribable with a man in the airport lounge. Xing Jinyan's face paled when she saw the video. Do you want to see more? I have a lot of them, Su Jiran said with a smile. You've been following me? Xing Jinyan asked. If you don't have a guilty conscience, why would you be afraid of being followed? So your so-called youth and so-called feelings are just a joke in my eyes, Su Jiran said sarcastically. Su Jiran, you're a scum. When you were with Baya, you seduced me. When you were with me, you hooked up with Baya. You're a scum. Xing Jinyan was furious. Go ahead and scold me. I'll post a video online for every word you say. I'll post 2 videos for every word you say. I'll post 3 videos for every word you say. This kind of video should be very popular. It's high definition and uncensored, Su Jiran said calmly. Xing Jinyan was speechless. She had always known that Su Jiran was a bad person, but when he was bad, it was really infuriating. Forget it. You've served me well for the past 3 years. But I only picked up a pair of broken shoes that I didn't want. Get lost, Xing Jinyan said with a different expression. Chang Rian looked at Xing Jinyan and then at Xing Bachuan. She felt that the video was definitely not a good thing. Seeing that her daughter's attitude had changed, she sat by the side and didn't say anything. Su Jiran chuckled and turned around with Baya in his arms. Stop, Xing Bachuan shouted. My daughter isn't someone you can bully. Su Jiran, I'm giving you one last chance. You can still turn back, kneel, and apologize to Xiaoyan. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you in the future. Su Jiran smiled meaningfully. Do you think you still have a future? What do you mean? Xing Bachuan was annoyed. You'll know what I mean very soon. Su Jiran walked away with his arms around Baya. Baya turned around and looked at Xing Bachuan, Xing Jinyan, and Chang Rian. She knew that Su Jiran had begun his revenge. Su Jiran had said that sentence. Do you think you still have a future? He was definitely ready. Xing Bachuan and Xing Jinyan probably wouldn't have such a bright and beautiful life in the future. When they went out, Su Jiran asked Baya, Did you feel good just now? Look at my face. Do you think I'll feel good? I just watched a good show, and I'm just a bystander, Baya said calmly. Xing Jinyan bullied you previously. I've already retaliated against her. Don't you feel good? Su Jiran was puzzled. Those little tricks of hers are nothing in my eyes. I don't even care about them. How could she bully me? I'll treat you to dinner. I have a favor to ask of you, Baya said solemnly. What is it? I know that you've already begun your revenge. When the time comes, give me Xing Bachuan for a month. I have use for him. Su Jiran raised his brows. For your mother? Baya nodded. Yes. Su Jiran's lips curled up. He hugged Baya's waist. Then can I bring the 1-month deadline forward? I'm having a hard time holding it in. Baya slowly clenched her fists and looked at Su Jiran's devilish eyes. He was ambitious and determined to get what he wanted. If she stayed by his side, it would be like asking a tiger for its skin, but there was no other way. I can't answer you now. It depends on my mood at that time. Maybe it will be earlier than you think, Baya said ambiguously. Anyway, you can't escape from me. I want to eat seafood today. Let's go. I know a good seafood restaurant, but it's a little far. Su Jiran held her hand and walked in front. Baya furrowed her brows. Now that it was like this, she could only take it one day at a time and deal with it when it came. Chapter 280. I want to treat you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Zhou Hailan said softly. I'm sorry, I'm not free tonight. I'm treating someone to dinner. Baya rejected him directly. How about tomorrow at noon? I have something very important to tell you. You can say on the phone. It's the same. It's not like we have to meet. Baya subconsciously did not want to see Zhou Hailan. There was no reason. She just did not want to. I have something to give you. I'll wait for you in room 302 of Ziyuan restaurant tomorrow. Be there or be square. After Zhou Hailan said that, he did not wait for Baya to speak and hung up the phone. Baya kept her phone and put in her bag. Who is it? Su Jiran asked curiously. Zhou Hailan. Baya did not lie. If she's looking for you, I advise you not to go. I don't think it's anything good. By the way, I heard that Gu Lingqing did not marry her. He gave her the house and savings under his name. Su Jiran said with an unclear expression. Let me think about it. Baya did not directly say that she did not want to go. Su Jiran frowned. Don't get too close to her. She's not as simple as she looks. As long as she's an adult, she's not simple. Su Jiran, are you simple? Baya retorted. Su Jiran put his arm around her shoulders and looked at her. What's wrong? Are you angry? Come on, tell me why you're angry. I'm all ears. I think you don't respect me. You just want to control me. It's my freedom to see you or not, Baya expressed. Su Jiran tapped her nose. I don't want to control you. I just care about you. All right, let's not talk about this. Let's go eat. I'm hungry. Su Jiran pushed her away. He did not seem to want to communicate with her. He really just wanted to control her. Baya turned her face away in annoyance and saw a sneaky figure hiding, revealing only a small part of his cap. Someone was following them. Was that person following her or Su Jiran? Su Jiran, Baya shouted. Someone is following us. Let's talk in the car, Su Jiran said in a low voice. In that case, that person was not one of Su Jiran's men. She didn't like being followed, so she didn't say anything and followed Su Jiran into the car. Don't look back, Su Jiran reminded. He fastened his seatbelt and drove. Baya looked at the rearview mirror. A tall, thin man wearing a cap walked out and got into the car. Who are they? Baya asked. I don't know. Sit tight, Su Jiran said in a low voice. A similar light flashed in his eyes as he drove. The car sped along the road. It was rush hour. Su Jiran drove like a madman, driving recklessly. She grabbed the handle of the car door and remembered that 3 years ago, Su Jiran also drove recklessly on the road. In the past, Gu Lingqing saved her. Now, she was alone. Slow down. You'll hit someone, Baya reminded. Are you worried about my driving skills? Su Jiran frowned as soon as he finished speaking. His eyes were shining with hidden meaning. I know who is following us. Who? Baya followed Su Jiran's gaze and looked ahead. There was an obstacle in front. The traffic police seemed to be waiting for him on purpose. He wanted to reverse the car, but there was an obstacle behind him. Baya seemed to know who was following them. Gu Lingqing, Su Jiran said with certainty. Baya frowned. Is Gu Lingqing protecting her? Su Jiran got out of the car and walked towards the traffic police. He smiled and said, I didn't break the law, did I? You were racing during rush hour and ran more than 6 red lights in a row. Do you think you broke the law? The traffic police said seriously. Officer, someone was following me just now. I was just trying to avoid him, Su Jiran explained. That's your problem. I only care about the convenience of traffic. Detain him first. Go through the legal process and detain him, the traffic police said impartially. Su Jiran knew that since someone had arranged it, they would not give him face. Can I make a phone call? The traffic police thought for a moment and nodded. Sure. Su Jiran made a call and said in a deep voice, I'm at Guang'an Road because I was racing and ran a red light. I need to be detained and dealt with. He put away the phone and walked towards Baya. He opened the door of the front passenger seat. This car is being detained. I'm going to the detention center for a few hours. Wait for me to come out and we'll have supper together. Baya saw that he was calm and nodded. Then I'll go back to the hotel first. I'll wait for you until 10. I'm going to sleep after that. Su Jiran rubbed Baya's head. Don't forget to have dinner. I'll contact you when I'm out. Baya pushed his hand away. I'm not a small animal. Don't rub my head. It's messy. What a heartless woman. I'm going to the detention center, but she's not gentle at all. Su Jiran sighed. If you want to be gentle, I'll give it to you. I won't say any more. Go early and come back early, she said decisively. She was really straightforward. Perhaps this was what he liked about her sincerity. Su Jiran left with the traffic police. Baya called back to Xinhua Hotel. When her phone rang, she saw that it was an unknown number. She did not want to pick it up and hung it up. The unknown number rang again. She frowned and picked it up. She asked in a bad tone, Who is it? What's the matter? I'm Gu Lingqing. I'm calling you from a hidden number. Remember to delete the caller ID after the call. This number can't be found on mobile. I'll be detaining Su Jiran for a few days. Call me if you need anything. Memorize my number, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. Why are you doing this? You said that locking Su Jiran up for a few days isn't going to solve the root of the problem. It's completely useless and will only increase the conflict between the two of you. Also, your protection is actually hurting me, Baya said angrily. She still had things for Su Jiran to do. If Su Jiran was locked up, it would only delay her progress. After a month, she did not know how to get out of this unscathed. What she needed was speed. Gu Lingqing felt her anger and fell silent. She knew that he was doing this because he cared about her. She should not vent her anger on him. She took a deep breath and adjusted her emotions. Don't do this in the future. Xiaoya, why do you want to stay by Su Jiran's side? Are there things that he can do that I can't? Gu Lingqing asked directly. Don't worry about my affairs. I have my own ideas. Just do your own things. That's all. I'm hanging up. Baya hung up the phone directly. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes. He felt that there must be things that Su Jiran could do that he couldn't. What were those things? Chapter 281. She deleted the number, threw her phone on the bedside table, and lay on the bed. She was too tired and fell asleep without taking a shower. That night, she had a dream. She dreamt that she was sitting on a boat, surrounded by a lake that she could not see the edge of. The surface of the lake was sparkling, reflecting her face. Gu Lingqing was also sitting on the boat. He leaned over, kissed her, took off her clothes, and did shameful things with her. When she felt comfortable, Gu Lingqing's face turned into Su Jiran's. She was shocked and wanted to escape in a panic. Su Jiran held her waist, not letting her go, and forced himself on her. She kicked him away in fear. She had nowhere to retreat and jumped into the lake. At the bottom of the lake, she saw a woman who was also naked. She swam towards her. It was a face that looked exactly like hers, and it was tearful. Her arm tightened. Gu Lingqing held her hand and swam upwards. She turned around. The woman had already stood up and was waving at her. Baya's heart tightened. She suddenly woke up and sat up. She was covered in sweat. Did you have a nightmare? Su Jiran asked. Baya was surprised to see him. Her eyes were wide open, and her eyelashes were trembling. Perhaps it was because she had just woken up, and her mind was not very clear yet. She fell back onto the bed and closed her eyes. Su Jiran chuckled. Baya, you're quite cute sometimes. Baya heard Su Jiran's voice clearly. She was sure that he was really in her room. She opened her eyes again. When did you get here? I just came in for a minute. Su Jiran bent his arm and looked at the watch on it. Baya also grabbed the phone on the bedside table. She looked at the time. It was already 6:20 in the morning. Have breakfast with me. I have to go back and rest for a while after eating. Su Jiran used a declarative sentence. Baya did not want to argue with him. It would be more troublesome if he stayed here to sleep. I'm going to wash up, Baya said. She entered the bathroom, locked the door, and took a shower. She changed into yesterday's clothes and brushed her teeth. It seemed like she should buy some clothes. It took her 15 minutes to get out of the bathroom. Let's go. Su Jiran walked in front of her. Baya followed behind him, keeping a distance of 1 meter between them. Did you call Gu Lingqing and ask him to let me go? Su Jiran suddenly asked. No, why do you ask? Baya lowered her eyes. It's strange that he suddenly let me go. Could it be that he doesn't want you to treat me to seafood? The corners of Su Jiran's mouth twitched. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at Baya dotingly. Baya's head was still lowered as he thought about the dream he had. He was a little flustered. Su Jiran waved his hand in front of her. What are you daydreaming about? What are you thinking about? Think about the dream you had just now. Some scientists who study dreams say that dreams can reflect the condition of the body, which is also due to the influence of life and environment. Sometimes, dreams can give people enlightenment, Baya said thoughtfully. What kind of dream did you have? Tell me about it. Perhaps I can answer it for you, Su Jiran said with a smile. Baya gave him a strange look. She would never tell him about her dream. You're not an expert. Let's go and have breakfast. I'll go buy some clothes after that. Do you need me to accompany you? Su Jiran asked. Baya shook his head. I can do it alone. Su Jiran took out a card from his wallet and handed it to Baya. The password is 333520. Baya pushed his hand away. I have money. I'm not used to using other people's. Su Jiran knew that if she said she didn't need it, she wouldn't use his. 3 years ago, Baya was so poor. Now that Baya was rich, it was even more so. Okay then, I'll treat you to a movie tonight. He put his arm around her waist and walked into the elevator with her. Baya looked at her reflection on the elevator. Because she hated her hypocritical self, she lowered her eyes. As soon as they got out of the elevator, Su Jiran's phone rang. He saw that it was Xing Jinyan's caller ID. He answered the call and pressed the speaker button. What's wrong? Su Jiran, my father was taken away by the discipline inspection team early in the morning. Did you do it? Xing Jinyan complained angrily. I'm not in charge of discipline inspection. I don't have that much power. You said yesterday that my father didn't have a chance. If it wasn't you, who else could it be? Xing Jinyan was very agitated. If your father didn't do anything wrong, he'll be innocent. It doesn't matter if he's taken away by the discipline inspection team. He'll be released. If he's done all kinds of evil and abused his power for personal gain, it's normal that he can't be released. I'm going to have breakfast now. I don't have time to listen to your complaints. Bye. Su Jiran hung up. He hung up the phone. You're quite fast, Baiya said in a low voice. Because of you, I'm already 3 years late. The information I have is enough to sentence Xing Bachuan and Xing Jinyan to death. But I promised to give him to you for a month, so I'll play slowly, Su Jiran explained, and opened the door of the front passenger seat. Baiya got into the car and put on her seatbelt. Su Jiran was quite scary. The power and influence behind him were not inferior to Gu Lingqing's. For the sake of Gu Lingqing's safety, she should actually let Su Jiran see her determination towards Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran got into the driver's seat and drove Baiya to have breakfast. The sun shone on her snow-white face, making it even more dazzling. Su Jiran held her hand, enjoying the silence and the space with her around. Even though they did not speak, he could feel the sweetness in the air. Baiya's phone rang. She was shocked and took it out of her bag. It was Cheng Jinrong's. She was surprised that Cheng Jinrong would call at this time. She answered the phone and greeted politely, "Good morning. Baiya, are you still treating Governor Lu's son?" Cheng Jinrong asked worriedly. That day, because of the incident with Lu Shuang, she left without saying goodbye to Cheng Jinrong. She was a little apologetic. "Well, I have to go back to city. Hey, Governor Lu interfered with my treatment process, so my contract with him has been terminated." "What's wrong?" "That's good. It shouldn't involve you." Cheng Jinrong breathed a sigh of relief. "What happened?" "I had a bad feeling. Do you still remember that Lu Xingzhou's son raped the campus belle?" "I know. Lu Xingzhou's family should have used money to deal with this matter." "What's wrong? Did something similar happen?" "This morning, the campus belle's family was killed. Now the police are investigating. I suspect that it was done by that kid. So I'm worried about your situation," Cheng Jinrong explained. Baiya's eyes dimmed. Becoming a demon with a single thought, becoming a Buddha with a single thought. Most of the time, a child's worldview is led by their parents. Lu Biao was originally a very intelligent child. Unfortunately, his outlook on life was distorted by his parents. She could do nothing about it. Chapter 282. Baiya hung up the phone and was still deep in thought. "What's wrong?" Su Jiran asked and held her cold hand. Baiya shook her head. "I heard some shocking news, so I'm a little emotional. You always think too much and keep everything in your heart. It's easy to take things too hard. Xiaoya, you should make more friends," Su Jiran suggested. "The friendship between gentlemen is as indifferent as water. Those who are blacklisted on QQ are usually those who have a good chat with them and are treated as friends. Those who don't talk much can stay safely. Sometimes, friends are scarier than enemies." "I'd rather have no friend than have a bad one," Baiya retorted. Su Jiran nodded. "You're right. It's enough for you to have me." "Huh." Baiya laughed and looked out of the window. Why did he feel that her laughter made him feel especially uncomfortable? "We've arrived at the place where we're eating," Su Jiran reminded them and stopped the car at the entrance. Baiya recognized the Hummer next to them. It seemed to be Gu Lingqing's. He frowned. Su Jiran would feel uncomfortable if he didn't do something every day, right? Gu Lingqing and Lieutenant Colonel Song walked out from the car. Su Jiran curled the corner of his mouth. "What a coincidence. I didn't expect to bump into you while having breakfast. When did City A become so small?" Gu Lingqing's cold gaze swept across Su Jiran's charming face. "Whether or not we can bump into each other depends on whether CEO Su has a heart or not. If he has a heart, we can bump into each other anytime and anywhere. If we're talking about a heart, how can I compare to you, Chief Gu? I'm puzzled. When your people saw me having sex with Baiya and reported it to you, did you feel better?" Su Jiran said sarcastically. "It's my own business whether I'm happy or not. Are you afraid of being stared at because you've done too many bad things?" Gu Lingqing asked back. "If I had done a lot of bad things, I wouldn't be safe and sound now." "But Chief Gu, You have to be careful with your words and actions. You were lucky last time, but Lady Luck won't always be on your side. To be exact, Su Jiran paused, put his arm around Bai Ye's waist, and pulled her. The goddess is already standing by my side. Gu Lingqing twitched the corner of her mouth and looked at Su Jiran with a secretive look. Then you should cherish your goddess. I will also cherish my goddess. I'm getting married soon. I'll write the wedding invitation and send it to you. Bai was flabbergasted. Waves flowed through her calm eyes as she looked at Gu Lingqing in astonishment. Su Jiran was also shocked and blurted out, "You're getting married? With whom?" "I don't need to report to you who I'm marrying. You're on your own," Gu Lingqing said arrogantly and passed by them. Lieutenant Colonel Song hurriedly opened the door of the back seat. Gu Lingqing sat in the car expressionlessly and didn't even look at Bai Ye. Bai Ye's back was stiff and her head was buzzing. She didn't look back either. Gu Lingqing's car passed by them again and sped away. Bai Ye stared at Gu Lingqing's car as it left. She had always hoped that Gu Lingqing could forget her, find a suitable woman to marry and have children with, and live happily ever after. He was finally going to marry another woman and stop pestering her. Her heart hurt instead. It hurt so much that she felt as if there were 3 mountains pressing on her. It was so heavy that she couldn't even breathe. However, she had to pretend that her heart didn't hurt. Her palms became colder. No wonder he suddenly let me go. It turns out that he has a new lover, Su Jiran guessed, and looked at Bai Ye. "Let's go in for breakfast." "I'm very hungry," Bai Ye said lightly. "I've reserved room 203, Su Jiran said. They entered the room. Bai Ye lowered her head and flipped through the menu casually. In fact, she couldn't pay attention to a word. Her mind was still recalling what Gu Lingqing said. "I'm getting married soon." In the world, how many people who loved each other could get together? After marriage and time, how many people who loved each other continued to love each other? She had seen too many wounds of love, because it was too tiring and too lonely to live. Perhaps after the parents died and the children started a new family, they would realize that they were the loneliest person in the world. She envied penguins. Penguins were social animals. They would only have one partner in their lifetime. Even if their partner died, they would not remarry. "Xiaoya, Xiaoya, Xiaoya." When Bai Ye heard Su Jiran calling her, she raised her head and looked at Su Jiran. He narrowed his eyes and looked at her coldly. "Are you sad? I've called you many times, but you can't hear me." Bai Ye's eyes were misty. Her eyes were red, but her tone was calm and light. She was neither humble nor arrogant, and there was no fluctuation of emotion. "If I tell you now that I'm not sad, you won't believe me. In fact, I'm really sad." Su Jiran's face turned pale. "You're sad that Gu Lingqing is getting married?" "I'm sad about myself. When I loved you, you wantonly hurt me. When I fell in love with Gu Lingqing, he completely forgot about me. Now," Bai Ye paused and lowered her eyes. Tears flowed down. "Perhaps I shouldn't have survived." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Su Jiran was agitated. He held Bai Ye's wrist, and his eyes were red. He warned, "Listen carefully, I won't allow it. If you dare to commit suicide, I swear that I will destroy everyone, things, and things you care about, including your mother, Gu Lingqing, and Lu Xuan." Bai Ye looked at her wrist. He was obviously very strong, but she didn't feel any pain at all. "Do you think I still care about them now?" "You care about them," Su Jiran said with certainty. Bai Ye raised the corner of her mouth and tasted her salty tears. Yes, she still cared about them. Now that he was still alive, it was a responsibility. The hardships, grievances, and agitation of life would make her give up, be willful, and be impulsive. But after thinking it through, she still had a lot of things to do. Living was easy to die. Dead, but could never come back to life. "I want to go to the washroom," Bai Ye said softly. It was so soft, like the soft language of Wunon. It sounded like a request. Su Jiran turned his face away and nodded. Bai Ye stood up and walked quickly to the washroom. She squatted in the last cubicle of the washroom and cried happily. She finally used her coldness, willfulness, and heartlessness to force away the man who loved her the most, and she also loved the most. From now on, he went his own way, and she went hers. They would never have anything to do with each other again. She was happy for him, but also sad for herself. So after one last cry, Baya could live like a machine. Chapter 283. She cried for more than 10 minutes. Her face was covered with tears and snot. Her eyes were red and swollen. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Her mind was blank. Then she came out of the toilet, walked to the mirror, and washed her face. He raised his head and looked at himself in the mirror. Taking a deep breath, he pressed his finger on the mirror and caressed Baya's face. He said softly, "Don't be sad. Gu Lingqing is gone. I will always be by your side and protect you. From today onwards, no one will be able to hurt you." The cleaner came in and looked at Baya with a weird expression. Baya glanced at the cleaner, straightened her back, and walked out of the restroom. The moment the door closed, she heard the cleaner say, "Lunatic." Her whole body trembled, and her hands were trembling. She pushed the door open, and her sharp eyes swept over the cleaner. She snapped, "What did you say?" Seeing that, Baya was angry. The cleaner immediately corrected herself. "I didn't say anything. What's wrong? If I hear you again, I'll sue you for slander," warned Baya. He turned around and walked towards room 203. Su Jiran's breakfast was served, but he didn't eat it. He was playing with his phone when he saw Baya enter. He stared at her eyes. "You're crying? Don't worry about it. It's just a way of venting my emotions. I'll be fine after I'm done crying." I've also recognized the reality. Baya pulled out a chair and sat across from Su Jiran. The corners of Su Jiran's mouth curled up slightly. He put his phone aside and asked, "What reality have you realized? If I want to live a good life in the future, you will be my God. I will die against God and live according to God," Baya said expressionlessly. Su Jiran was suspicious. "Are you telling the truth?" "It's true. It can't be fake. Even if it's fake, it can't be real. Hurry up and eat your breakfast. After that, go back and have a good rest. We still have to fight side by side in the future," Baya said solemnly. Su Jiran clasped her hand and held it tightly between her fingers. He liked the phrase, "fight side by side." "Xiaoya, have you ever thought that after going through so many ups and downs, we are still together now? Perhaps we are destined to be together?" Su Jiran said softly. Baya didn't deny it. His lips curled up. "Perhaps. No one knows what the road ahead will be like. Cherish it as you go." "I will cherish you. I swear. As long as you never leave me, I will never leave you," Su Jiran promised. Baya smiled. When two people loved each other, vows were sweet. If they were not in love with each other, the vow would become a burden. After breakfast, Su Jiran went back, and she went to the mall to buy clothes. When she arrived at the shopping mall, it was not open yet. She sat on a wooden bench by the roadside and looked at the various people and vehicles passing by. The sun was just right, and when it shone on her, she felt a little sleepy. Mississippi, a young man, came over on a skateboard and handed a lipstick to Baya. "Can I trouble you to print a lipstick print on my clothes?" Baya didn't take the lipstick from him. She frowned slightly. "You should be in school at this time, right?" The young man had a strange look on his face. "Sorry to trouble you. If you agree, I'll give you the lipstick." Baya looked at him. Her eyes flickered, and she looked to the right from time to time. There were two other young men watching from the right. "Did you make a bet with your friends?" Baya guessed. The young man smiled shyly. "They all said that you're good-looking. They bet $100 with me." "Do you think that good-looking girls will like kids who play truant?" Baya asked in return. The young man didn't say anything. Knowledge can change a person's life. It can increase one's charm and make one more cultured and elegant. Do you want to marry a beautiful girl when you grow up? Or do you want to marry an average girl and be despised by your wife? Baya said with a smile. She took out the lipstick from her bag and applied it. She licked her lips. The young master looked at Baya with hope. He was a little emotional. "I can leave a lipstick mark on your clothes. The condition is that you have to go back to school for lessons. Do you agree to go back to school?" Baya asked. Yes, the young master said immediately. Baya left a lipstick mark on the young master's clothes. The young master rode his skateboard away excitedly. Baya looked at the three young masters leaving and smiled elegantly. The world of children was really pure and simple. They were satisfied with just a lipstick mark on their clothes. They didn't think much and hoped for little. The shopping mall opened. Baya went in and bought 3 sets of clothes, including her underwear. After she was done, she took a taxi back to the hotel. She took a shower and washed her new underwear. She used an iron to iron them dry. The rest were sent to be cleaned. Her phone rang. She saw that it was Zhou Hailon. She remembered that Zhou Hailon had asked her to meet at noon last night. She really didn't think that there was any need to meet Zhou Hailon. She didn't answer and hung up. The phone rang again. She saw that it was still Zhou Hailon and answered. "What's the matter? I'm already in room 302 of the UN Tower. When are you coming?" Zhou Hailon asked. "I'm not coming. I'm sorry. I have something for you. Please come. Otherwise, I won't leave here. 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months. I'll wait for you until you come," Zhou Hailon said firmly. Baya frowned. If she didn't go, it would be too unreasonable. "I'll come in an hour," Baya said in a low voice. She changed into new clothes without makeup and went to room 302 of the UN Tower. In addition to Zhou Hailon, there was a 5 or 6-year-old child in the room. She looked a bit like Zhou Hailon. She guessed that she was the child of Zhou Hailon and Gu Lingqing. "Why are you looking for me?" Baya asked directly. Zhou Hailon held Baya's hand. "You're finally willing to see me. That's great. Here's the thing. Actually, Gu Lingqing and I aren't married at all. We just have an inexplicable agreement." Baya was silent and didn't answer. Zhou Hailon continued. "Gu Lingqing doesn't want to marry me. I know that you're the only one in his heart. So, I agreed to void the agreement. However, Gu Lingqing gave me 3 houses under his name and 1.08 million in cash. I can't take these things. Please give them back to Gu Lingqing. Please give them back to Gu Lingqing. He must have his reasons for doing that. Since he gave it to you, you should take it. This is what you and your child deserve," Baya said in a low voice. "Wait a minute. Wait for me." Zhou Hailon walked out of the room without saying anything. Baya looked at the child. If her child hadn't died, he would be about the same age as him. Without Gu Lingqing, Zhou Hailon at least had this child. She wouldn't feel lonely anymore. Chapter 284. Don't go with strangers. "I'm not familiar with you. You can ask your mom to bring you to the place you want to go," Baya said gently as she rubbed the child's head. "My mom can't know about that place. Otherwise, I'll be taken away. But I'm going to get something very important. Auntie, I trust you. Can you please help me? Otherwise, I'll die," the child pleaded. "Where are you going? Where are you going to get?" Baya asked defensively. "It's a map that I hid in the past. I have to go there to know exactly where it's buried." "I've made a mark," the child said. Baya frowned and scrutinized the child. "What map?" "It's about the base. I'm going to get it from my dad," the child said. Baya's lips twitched. She could tell that the child's logic was wrong. "Then you should look for your dad directly and tell him about the map." "Not me," Baya rejected him tactfully. The child was angry. "Are you going to take me or not? Why can't your mom know about the base's map? Why would you be taken away after your mom found out? Why will you die if I don't help you?" Baya asked a few questions in a row. The child couldn't come up with any good excuses. He picked up the ashtray on the table and hit his head hard. Blood flowed out. Baya didn't move. She narrowed her eyes and looked at him. He threw the ashtray at Baya's feet, ran out of the room, and shouted, "She hit me, Mom. She hit me. She hit me." Baya stood at the door of the private room and watched the child run out. She knew that it was a trap in front of her. Why would she chase after him? She wouldn't foolishly stay there and wait for Zhou Hailon to come back and question her. Gu Lingqing was going to marry someone else soon. This person wasn't her, nor was it Zhou Hailon. There was no point in Zhou Hailon fighting with her. Moreover, she didn't have the energy to complicate matters. Baya left from the back door and walked back to the hotel. Half an hour later, she had just returned to her hotel room when her phone rang. She saw that it was from Zhou Hailon and picked up the call. "Baya, are you guys not in the private room anymore? I came back to look for you, but no one was there. Your son asked me to take him to a place. Do you know where that place is?" Baya asked. "What? A place? Where?" Zhou Hailon's tone was filled with confusion. He said that Mother can't know about that place. If Mother knows, he will be taken away and will die. I've already told Gu Lingqing about this, Bai Yi said coldly. What does that mean? Did Xiao Xin really say that? Where's he now? Zhou Hailon asked. He smashed his head with an ashtray and rushed out of the private room. I don't know where he went. Right after Bai Yi said that, Zhou Hailon hung up the phone. She frowned and looked at Xiao Xin, who was standing beside her. You caused me so much trouble this time. Why did you say that I can't know about it, and that I will be taken away and die? If that's the case, your father will think that I'm a bad person. Xiao Xin looked at Zhou Hailon in fear. She doesn't want to go with me? Run away now. If your father finds you, deny it immediately and say that you didn't say anything. It was Bai Yi who hit you. You have to be firm. If necessary, continue to use the trick of injuring yourself. If you use it now, it's for our future happiness. Understand? Zhou Hailon instructed. I understand, Mom. I won't let that bad woman take Dad away, Xiao Xin said, and continued to run towards the back alley. Zhou Hailon called Gu Lingqing worriedly. Ah Qing, something happened to Xiao Xin. I can't find him anywhere. How is that possible? Gu Lingqing asked. I made an appointment with Bai Yi today. I wanted to return your property ownership certificate to you. I asked Xiao Xin and Bai Yi to be alone. But when I returned to the private room, Bai Yi and Xiao Xin were gone. I called Bai Yi just now, and Bai Yi said that she saw Xiao Xin rushing out. She doesn't know where Xiao Xin went. Xiao Xin is very obedient. Why did he suddenly rush out? Zhou Hailon directed all the blame to Bai Yi. I understand. Let's find Xiao Xin first. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone without hesitation. Bai Yi rested for half an hour. Then, she went to a ramen shop near the hotel to eat noodles. When she was halfway through her ramen, her phone rang. She saw that it was an unfamiliar number. She picked up the call. If you want the child to live, come to Qingshan Park. You must have called the wrong number, Bai Yi said calmly. She lowered her head and continued to eat her noodles. You are Bai Yi, right? Xiao Xin is in our hands. If you don't come in 2 hours, you will only see his corpse, the person on the other side warned. You should be looking for the child's father or mother. You can also look for the child's grandparents. I have nothing to do with this child. I'm sorry. Also, if you call me again, I will call the police. You're on your own, Bai Yi said and hung up the phone. Yes. The person on the other side, after she finished eating, she paid. She was curious about what the other party was up to. She drove to Qingshan Park. From afar, she saw Gu Lingqing. Daddy, that woman hit me. She wanted to hit me again. So, I ran away, Xiao Xin complained. You said that Bai Yi hit you? How is that possible? Xiao Xin, don't talk nonsense. How could she hit you? Zhou Hailon said in disbelief. That woman hit me. She even forced me to say that there's something wrong with my mother. If I didn't say anything, she would hit me. Xiao Xin pursed her lips and said pitifully. Zhou Hailon observed Gu Lingqing's expression and said gently, There must be a misunderstanding. I believe in Bai Yi's character. Gu Lingqing looked at Xiao Xin with a cold expression. He squatted down and said, You don't want Bai Yi to be your mother, do you? Zhou Hailon immediately realized the trap in his words. He said immediately, Why would I? Bai Yi is educated and reasonable. He's someone I can trust. Gu Lingqing glanced at Zhou Hailon and said calmly, You know Bai Yi's character. Of course, you would think so. Xiao Xin is still young. He will only judge based on his supervisor. Xiao Xin's opinion is very important to me. Zhou Hailon was speechless by Gu Lingqing. He did not know what to say. Xiao Xin seemed to have found a resonance. She said, I don't want her to be my mother. I have a mother. Why should I want someone else to be my mother? So, you're using this method to frame her? Gu Lingqing looked at Xiao Xin's forehead. But she doesn't know that I'm going to marry someone else. What you're doing is useless. Don't do anything that will hurt yourself in the future. Zhou Hailon was shocked. You're not going to marry Bai Yi. Why? Bai Yi is so good. Chapter 285. Why? What did I do wrong? Zhou Hailon's eyes turned red, and he looked at Gu Lingqing anxiously. Xiao Xin has learned to torture himself at such a young age. If you don't correct his character, He will become darker when he grows up. Do you think you have corrected him? Gu Lingqing said bluntly. I don't believe that Baya hit him either. Why didn't I correct him? You can't wrong me. At least I didn't do anything wrong to you. Zhou Hailan felt wronged. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened and he stopped talking. Let me take you to the hospital first. Xiao Xian's head is injured. He needs to be checked. Zhou Hailan turned around and saw Baya in the distance. His eyes flickered and he said to Gu Lingqing, carry Xiao Xian. Even if he did something wrong, he is still a child. I don't want him to feel no love. That will only make his character more twisted. Gu Lingqing carried Xiao Xian, who was injured. Xiao Xian wrapped her arms around Gu Lingqing's neck. Dad, who are you going to marry? I want you to be with Mom. Even if Mom and Dad are not together, we will still love you. Don't worry. But I can't see you. Xiao Xian felt wronged. From now on, I will make time to see you 4 times a month. Gu Lingqing promised. Baya watched the family of 3 walk to the other side. The father loved the mother, and the mother were kind. They were happy and harmonious. It was a beautiful scene, and she was just a drop in the ocean. She couldn't even handle her own affairs well. She couldn't care less about other people's family affairs. She rolled up the window. Now, she and Gu Lingqing were nothing. Would Gu Lingqing still help her to save Lu Shuang? She didn't have the cheek to ask him about it. She took out her phone and was about to call Su Jiran when Mu Xiaosheng called. Baya answered the call. Hello, Xiaosheng. Baya, are you still in city? Mu Xiaosheng asked anxiously. Yes, what's wrong? Help. Let me tell you, there's an extremely vicious murder case in Jinyuan City, and Governor Lu's son is involved in it. The child was very stubborn. After he was caught, he only said that he didn't do it and didn't say anything else. His identity was special, so the police did not dare to use extreme measures. So they asked for help from the higher-ups. Now, they are pressuring me. You're the most capable one here. Mu Xiaosheng said anxiously. Baya remained silent. She promised to help Mu Xiaosheng complete the 12 tasks, but she subconsciously rejected LV Biao's case. When Mu Xiaosheng saw that Baya didn't answer, he was even more uncertain. In the past, Baya answered very simply. I'll tell you the truth. My task was pressured, so I had to send someone to do it. But the people here heard that it involves a high-ranking official, so no one is willing to go. Only I can go. The problem is that I'm not a criminal psychologist, but I'm the director of the hospital. If I go, not only will it be useless, but it will also affect the hospital's reputation. Mu Xiaosheng tried to persuade her. I know. I'll go, Baya replied. After all, she owed Mu Xiaosheng a favor. Mu Xiaosheng promised to help Lu Shuang without hesitation, so she shouldn't refuse. Baya, you're really my benefactor. Are you free this afternoon? I'll buy you a train ticket. I'll send the document to the director. Okay, send me a message when you've booked the train ticket. I'll go back to pack and check out. That's great. I'll book a presidential suite for you in Jinyuan City. I'll send you a message later. Mu Xiaosheng seemed to be afraid that she would regret it, so he quickly hung up the phone. Baya went back to the hotel to pack her luggage. When she checked out of her room, she received a message from Mu Xiaosheng. He had booked a train for her at 17:20 p.m., and the train would arrive at Jinyuan City at 21:40 p.m. He had also booked a presidential suite at Jinyuan International Hotel for her. He had already paid for the room, and the money was directly bound to his credit card. She would be charged for one night's stay. If it weren't for the fact that she didn't have much time, she and Mu Xiaosheng might have become good friends. On her way to the train station, Baya called Su Jiran. Darling, how did you know that I just woke up? Let's have dinner together tonight. Su Jiran's evil voice sounded. We can't have dinner together tonight. The Research Institute has received a mission. I need to go to Jinyuan City to help the police solve the case. When I come back, I want to meet Lu Shuang. Can you help me arrange it? Baya asked. You're going to Jinyuan City? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Su Jiran was a little unhappy. I just found out. I didn't know earlier. Can you help me? Baya asked again. How long will you be gone? Su Jiran frowned. Baya heard Su Jiran's promise. Although Su Jiran was a ruthless person, he would usually do what he promised. Baya breathed a sigh of relief. She would meet Lu Shuang first before planning how to save Lu Shuang. I don't know how long it will take. If it's fast today, If it's slow, it shouldn't be more than half a month. I'll contact you then. Half a month? The effect of my medicine is 1 month. Remember to come back within a month. Otherwise, even the gods won't be able to save you. Also, do you know who Gu Lingqing is going to marry? Su Jiran asked suspiciously. Baiya shook her head. She recalled the scene of Gu Lingqing carrying the child and Zhou Hailon following beside him. Her eyes turned cold. I don't know and I don't care. His world and mine are not the same. I just want to forget this person as soon as possible. You'd better not mention him in front of me. Su Jiran's lips curled up. Do you mean what you said? I mean it, Baiya said with certainty. Su Jiran believed that she was sincere. A smile appeared in his eyes. Be careful on the road. When you arrive at Jinyuan City, I'll get someone to pick you up. There's no need. Xiaosheng said that she had sent a document to Jinyuan City's police. They should have someone to pick me up at the train station. Xiaosheng has also booked a hotel for me. I've been to Jinyuan City many times this month, and I'm very familiar with the city. Troubling your friend will only make me look incompetent. Since you've already rejected me, if I force you, I'll only make you hate me. All right then, remember to give me a call when you arrive at Jinyuan. Also, seeing that your performance today wasn't bad, I'll give you a big present when you come back, Su Jiran said with a smile. What big gift? You'll know when you come back, Su Jiran kept her in suspense. Is it about Xingba Chuan? Baiya guessed. Chapter 286. She was not really looking forward to the surprise he had mentioned. She would be happy if it was just a surprise. Baiya boarded the train. Mu Xiaoxue had booked a first-class seat for her. She did not know why, but she felt sleepy easily. It was as if she wanted to make up for the lack of sleep she had during her insomnia. She fell asleep the moment she boarded the train and was woken up by her phone ringing. She looked at the time. It was already 9:30 p.m. She picked up Qinbin's call. You should be arriving at Jinyuan Station soon. I'm already waiting for you outside. See you later, Qinbin said politely. Baiya was happy to reunite with an old friend. Have you been transferred to Jinyuan City's police station? Yeah. There was a big case in Jinyuan City right after I was transferred here. It would be bad for us to deal with it directly, so we hired a specialist. I reported it to the higher-ups, but I didn't expect them to send you here. I think it's fate, Qinbin said with a smile. I don't think it's fate. It's all within reason. I was previously employed by LV Xingzhou as a psychiatrist. Because he interfered with my treatment, I ended my employment relationship with him early. Let's talk about it when we meet. Baiya looked out of the window. All right, let's talk when we meet. Qinbin hung up. Baiya went to the bathroom to wash her face. She took her luggage down from the luggage rack and stood at the door. It was already dark outside. Her face was reflected in the door, but her mind was blank. She could not think of anything. The train soon arrived at the station. She got out and saw Qinbin from afar. He was wearing a light blue suit. He looked gentle and elegant, like a scholar. If one did not know his identity, no one would know that he was the police chief. Baiya walked over to him. He took the luggage from her like a gentleman. Have you had dinner? I'm used to not feeling hungry during the journey, so I don't have much appetite, Baiya said politely. It's not good for your stomach if you don't eat anything. Let's eat something nearby. I'll send you back to the hotel and tell you about the case on the way. Qinbin placed the luggage in the back of the car. Baiya nodded. At the restaurant, Qinbin ordered tomato eggs, kung pao chicken, carrot ribs, and braised fish. While waiting for the dishes, he said, This case is quite bizarre. One of the victims was Zhang Chuanxia, a sophomore in high school. She had good grades and was the prettiest girl in her class. 3 months ago, accompanied by her parents, she came to the police station to report the case. She said that she had been raped by her classmate, Lu Biao. We've checked and found that there's an additional 1 million in their account. It should be Lu Biao's family who used the money to settle this matter. At the murder scene, not only was Zhang Chunxia raped again, but the murderer was also extremely cruel. After injecting 84 disinfectant in her body, completely destroying her DNA, she blocked her Y region with a blister agent and even dug out her tongue. So far, her tongue has not been found. The cause of death was cut. The main artery of the neck was cut, and he bled to death. Zhang Chuanxia's mother had been stabbed 36 times. The fatal stab had been to the heart, and she had been amputated. One of her legs had been stuffed into the mouth of the deceased and sealed with a blister. Zhang Chuanxia's father's eyes and other organs had been dug out. The cause of death was suffocation while being pressed into water. Why did you arrest Liu Biao? Bai was surprised. Someone said that they saw Liu Biao sneaking around on the night of the crime. When we caught him, he didn't say anything and had a blank expression, Chinbin explained. Was the victim's house the first scene of the crime? Did you find any drugs in the victim's body? Bai asked. The strange thing is that the victim's house was the first scene of the crime, but no drugs were found in the victim's body. So, this case is very bizarre. We suspect that Liu Biao is not the only murderer, Chinbin guessed. Is Zhang Chuanxia's house a private or commercial house? Are there no surveillance cameras around? Bai asked. This is also a strange place. They live in an old neighborhood, and the surveillance equipment is not good. But the people downstairs did not hear the movements upstairs. Then, who discovered the case first? Zhang Chuanxia's classmate came to look for Zhang Chuanxia. No one picked up their phone, and no one answered when they knocked on the door. Then, they realized that the door was unlocked. When they opened the door and saw blood, they called the police. What about the time of death? What about the contents of the stomach? Did you find a murder weapon? Bai asked 3 questions in a row. The time of death was between 9 and 4 in the morning. The victim was found at 7:35 the next day. The contents of the stomach were the food she ate at night. There was nothing special. The murder weapon was left at the scene. The murder weapon used for amputation must be quite big, right? Bai guessed. It was an electric saw knife. It was left at the scene. The problem is that Zhang Chuanxia's father bought the saw online. It wasn't brought by the murderer. The bayonet was taken from the kitchen. The blowing agent and 84 disinfectant were all from the victim's house. It doesn't seem to be premeditated, but it was done flawlessly. The murder didn't leave any fingerprints or traces at the scene. How did they do it? Chinbin was confused. Their food was served. Chinbin was a little apologetic. He wanted to treat her to a good night meal, but he seemed to have said too much. Bai had no appetite at all. She decided not to eat. Were there any signs of them being tied up? The forensic report didn't mention this. That's why I don't think it's possible to solve this case. I also don't believe that LV Biao did it alone. After all, he's still a child. How could he control 3 people alone? 2 of them were adults. But when I asked him, he wouldn't say anything. Chinbin sighed and looked at Baiya. I'm sorry for talking about such a bloody topic while you're eating. Can I go see LV Biao tonight? Baiya asked. So late? Don't you need a rest? Chinbin asked worriedly. I slept for a few hours in the car, so I'm not sleepy. I can pack these and send them to LV Biao, Baiya said gently. Chinbin smiled. You're quite considerate of him. Psychological warfare is the best, Baiya said. Her lips curled into a meaningful smile. They packed the food. Chinbin informed his subordinates to work overtime. Baiya took the food and went to the interrogation room to see LV Biao. When LV Biao saw Baiya, his eyes widened in surprise. Then, he furrowed his brows and turned his face away. Baiya smiled. Even if you're angry with me, you should eat your fill before you have the energy. You've been starving here for many days, right? Chapter 287. She had guessed that LV Biao would know her identity. When she left LV Biao's house, LV Biao lost his temper. His mother must have said a lot of bad things about her, including exposing her real identity. I came to save you as soon as I knew you were in trouble. Do you think I'm a psychologist now? Baiya joked. Save me? How much money did you take from my father? LV Biao mocked. When I was your psychologist, I signed a contract and got paid. This time, I didn't, Baiya confirmed and looked at LV Biao attentively. LV Biao studied her face as if he wanted to see if she was lying, but there was none. Did you really come to save me because you cared about me? LV Biao was a little shaken. As long as you're innocent, I'll do everything I can to prove your innocence. As long as you're innocent, I won't let anyone frame you. Ms. Bai, I didn't kill anyone. I didn't kill them. LV Biao's psychological defense was broken. Why did you appear at the crime scene? Baya asked. My mom not only let the students who bullied me go, but she also fired you. I was very angry, so I wanted to do something to express my anger. So I let out the tires of the students who bullied me. When they found out it was me, they encouraged Zhang Chunxia to call the police and say that I raped her. On the day of the crime, I wanted to warn Zhang Chunxia, so I picked the lock of her house. After I opened the door, I found a strong smell of blood, and I heard Zhang Chunxia crying. I knew something had happened in their house, so I sneaked in and pushed open Zhang Chunxia's door. I saw Zhang Chunxia lying on the bed without any clothes, but her private part was blocked by something that looked like white foam. Her mouth was also covered with white foam, and her throat was bleeding. I pushed open the door to the room next to Zhang Chunxia's. Her mother was also dead on the bed. Her limbs were amputated, and she died a horrible death. I thought that if her mother was there, her father should be there too. I was afraid of leaving fingerprints, so I erased the fingerprints on Zhang Chunxia's door and her mother's door. In the end, I found Zhang Chunxia's father naked in the bathroom. His organs were removed, but LV Biao paused and did not speak. But what? Baya's intuition was an important clue. LV Biao glanced at Baya and then at the food Baya brought. He continued, there was a phone on the pool, and there were a few videos on it. They were very bloody, so I took them. While I walked out of Zhang Chunxia's house, I bumped into some people. I thought they would accuse me, and sure enough, they really did. Then why didn't you say anything? You should know that if you don't say anything, it will be very disadvantageous for you. Baya frowned. Their modus operandi is amazing. Their mentality is very good. They are professionals. I just want to see if the police can find them, so I don't want to say anything. When Baya saw the glint in LV Biao's eyes, he had a bad feeling. LV Biao was still young. He was like a piece of white paper with a strong absorptive force. Whatever kind of guidance he had, he would be able to draw out a certain picture. He had to find a murderer and punish him. Otherwise, it would greatly distort LV Biao's mentality. Eat first. I'll get you some water. Baya walked out of the interrogation room. LV Biao opened the takeaway box. You're still the best. LV Biao spoke the moment you arrived. But why didn't you ask about the specific contents of the phone? Chenbin asked, puzzled. Firstly, he said that he wanted to see the police's ability, so he wouldn't say anything, even if I asked. Secondly, he revealed a few words, professional and good psychological quality. I suspect that the criminal recorded the process of the crime, but they wouldn't expose their own information, so they recorded it. So, through recording, the chances of finding out who the murderer is should be very low. Could it be a serial murder case? Random murder? But I haven't seen any cases of death from exhaustion so far. Could this be the first time they killed someone? It's unbelievable. Chenbin frowned. A new official was most afraid of such an unsolved case. Random murder? Baya narrowed her eyes. She also felt annoyed. This was like looking for a needle in a haystack. There was no clue. Can we get the video? Although the chances are slim, it's better than no clues at all, Chenbin suggested. It's better not to ask LV Biao about the video. Otherwise, he will doubt your ability. Where did you catch LV Biao? Baya asked. It was at his house. What's wrong? Chenbin asked, puzzled. LV Biao called this crime perfect, so he definitely wouldn't destroy it. He might keep it. Go search LV Biao's house. Maybe it's in his cloud collection, Baya suggested. Chenbin ordered his men to do something. Baya brought the water into the interrogation room. After entering, she didn't say anything. She just watched LV Biao eat. LV Biao wolfed down the food and looked quite pitiful. After you came in, did your father come to see you? Baya asked. LV Biao shrugged and said indifferently, this incident is too sensational. He probably wants to kill me. I don't have much feelings for him to begin with. The fee you paid me wasn't low. I still love you. LV Biao sneered. Feelings can't be bought with money. He spends money easily, but it's hard for him to give his feelings. Sometimes, I hate that I'm his son. I can't feel any fatherly love. I've never told you my story. My story is much more bizarre than yours. I'll tell you slowly after I get you out of here. Baya stood up. LV Biao also stood up. Teacher Bai, why are you so nice to me? We've only known each other for a few days. We're both in the same boat. I feel that we're fated. Besides, feelings are mutual. You can protect me from your mother and trust me. I'm quite touched. Stay here for a few more days. I'll bring you delicious food. Teacher bye. LV Biao was a little touched. I still have a clue. That woman dropped an earring. I picked it up and put it in a book. Maybe there are fingerprints on it. Baya smiled. Making a mistake once did not mean making a mistake for the rest of his life. LV Biao had a chance to walk the right path. I'll come see you tomorrow. When Baya went out, Chun Bin said gratefully, "That's great. This kid finally spoke. Now, the database has everyone's fingerprints. As long as there are fingerprints on the earring, we can quickly find the murderer and this case will be solved." It seems that it really has nothing to do with LV Biao. As long as he's fine, I won't have to step on the governor. I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Chapter 288. She went back to sleep. Shinbin was a new boss, and this case was unusual. He didn't sleep the whole night. He applied for a search warrant and found the earrings and the phone. Baya woke up naturally. She looked at the time. It was 7:30 in the morning. Her mind was a little muddled. She sat on the bed in a daze for 3 minutes, and gradually, she returned to reality. As long as she lived, life would continue. She brushed her teeth, washed her face, tied her hair up on top of her head, changed into a dark purple suit, took her breakfast rolls, and went to the hotel cafeteria. As soon as she walked in, she saw Gu Lingqing sitting by the window. He took a sandwich, a glass of milk, and an egg, and ate slowly. The eyes outside the window fell on his handsome body through the window, enveloped in a hazy halo. It had only been a few days, but it seemed like a lifetime had passed. He was as lofty as an immortal, and she was also a drop in the ocean. She had seen the ocean, but now she didn't recognize him. She took a chicken salad, a side dish, a bowl of noodles, a glass of sweet soy milk, and sat in the corner. Actually, she was quite curious. Why was he in Jinyuan and in the same hotel as her? Was it because she was here and he followed her? She thought it was unlikely. Since he had chosen to marry another woman, based on her understanding of him, a responsible person like him would not have anything to do with her. So, was it because of the treasure? Baya subconsciously looked at him. Coincidentally, he was also looking at her. His eyes were deep, and he didn't say anything. He didn't have any intention of greeting her. It was as if there were mountains between the two of them. She used to love ancient poetry, especially in middle and high school. She was infatuated with these genteel poems. She memorized all the poems that she felt were artistic and beautiful. When she was in puberty, she also wrote some poems, and her favorite thing to do was to randomly put them together. Now that he saw Gu Lingqing, a few words flashed through his mind. Two people in a life and death situation do not think, have nowhere to talk about desolation. Even if they meet, should not recognize each other. Heart like dust, eyes like light, only sorrow, sentimentality hurts. Baya lowered her eyes. She was calm like silk, and she wasn't shocked at all. Gu Lingqing finished eating before her. He didn't come over to say hello and directly left. There seemed to be no more interaction between the two of them. She felt a little pain in her heart, and even her eyes were a little wet. She lowered her head and didn't want anyone to see her emotions at this moment. She suppressed all the pain in her heart. She thought of the ancient times. Many people became friends because they were like-minded. Unfortunately, men had ambitions to travel far and wide. At that time, there was no mobile phone, no fixed residence. Parting meant that they would never meet again. Once parted, the words written by the literati were particularly sad. Now, there were mobile phones and the internet, but the sincere feelings of the ancients were gone. Even their feelings had to be disguised. All right, she admitted that she was sad. This kind of sadness was more than she had imagined. She wanted to cry, but she had no reason to. This was their normal, correct, and normal path of life, wasn't it? Baya had finished all the food in front of him, but what about the water in his heart? It couldn't be discharged from his tears. It could only settle, and settle again in his heart. She got up and walked towards the hotel lobby. Her mobile phone rang. She saw that it was Chun Bin and answered, "Sorry, am I late?" Chun Bin was in a good mood. "Your working hours have always been flexible. There's no such thing as being late. Let me tell you a piece of good news. There are fingerprints on the earring. Other than Zhang Chuanxia's father's, it's also the murderer's. After comparing the fingerprints, we've found the murderer. Hearing this news early in the morning makes me feel better. Is Lu Biao okay now?" Bai said with a smile. "He's fine. He went home this morning. Governor Liu is very happy. He's treating us to lunch today. Are you coming to the station, or should I pick you up at noon?" Chun Bin asked. "I'm coming to the station now. After all, the murderer hasn't been caught yet." "Okay, I'll wait for you," Chun Bin said in a low voice. The words "wait for you" were very beautiful. However, when it was not said by the person he wanted, there was no such feeling of heartbeat. When Bai arrived at the station, Chun Bin was already there, sitting in front of the computer, browsing. She knocked on the door of the office. Chun Bin looked at her and smiled. "Come in." Bai sat down opposite him. "Who's the murderer?" "The murderer's name is Zhang Hui. The husband and wife are wanted criminals on the internet. They used to run a hotel and murdered 13 guests in 3 years. 8 of them were men, 4 were women, and 1 was a child. Among the men, 2 were policemen. Their psychological quality is really good, and their methods are also cruel." Chun Bin showed the computer to Baya. "They're really a crime syndicate." Baya looked at the reports about the husband and wife. She felt that something was wrong. "Do you think they kill people at random?" "They used to kill people at random. Moreover, because they didn't leave any information about their accommodation, the killings were also random," Chun Bin guessed. Baya did not say anything. There was a knock on the door. A police officer came in and reported to Chun Bin. "Chief Chun, we've found the murderer. They committed suicide by taking poison in the rented house. They even wrote a suicide note describing how they murdered Zhang Chuanxia's family." "Committed suicide?" Chun Bin was also very surprised. "Is the video with you now?" Baya asked Chun Bin. "Yes, the phone has been found." "Let me take a look at the phone," Baya said to Chun Bin. Chun Bin's expression was a little strange. He looked like he wanted to say something, but stopped. "What's wrong?" Baya asked, puzzled. "It's a little unsightly." Chun Bin gave Baya a heads up and handed the seal bag with the phone. "Do you think I'll be afraid?" "Don't worry, I'm not that timid. Before I became a psychiatrist, I was an obstetrician. I dissected patients every day." Baya took the phone and played the video. When she saw the scene, she was indeed uncomfortable. A masked murderer held a knife to Zhang Chuanxia's neck and raped her. In the room, Zhang Chuanxia's family was there. He also asked Zhang Chuanxia's father to, and then made Zhang Chuanxia's father pour 84 disinfectant into his mouth. The murderer said, "You don't want the police to identify you as the murderer through the J fluid test in your daughter's body, do you?" Zhang Chuanxia's father begged for mercy. "Please let us go. We have 500,000 in the bank. If you want it, let go of my wife and child, and I'll give it all to you." The murderer laughed wildly. 500,000? Ha 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 ha. That depends on your performance. Chapter 289. While Zhang Chuanxia's father was weak, the murderer pressed his head into the pool and suffocated him to death. After Zhang Chuanxia's father died, she cut off his genitals and placed them in a sealed bag. What she didn't notice was that while she was enjoying herself, Zhang Chuanxia's father had purposely removed one of her earrings and held it tightly in his palm. After the murderer killed Zhang Chuanxia's father, she continued recording on her phone and returned to Zhang Chuanxia's room. Zhang Chuanxia's mother had a bad feeling when she saw that her husband wasn't back. "Where's my husband?" "Your husband went out to get money. You come with me." Zhang Chuanxia's mother followed the murderer suspiciously. As soon as she entered the room, she was stabbed several times by the murderer. The murderer pushed Zhang Chuanxia's mother away, turned on the electric saw, and cleanly sawed off Zhang Chuanxia's mother's leg. She stuffed her foot into Zhang Chuanxia's mother's mouth. "Watch your mouth, huh?" She took the phone and went to Zhang Chuanxia's room next door. The other murderer had already forced Zhang Chuanxia to complete her oral sex. The woman went up and mercilessly cut off Zhang Chuanxia's tongue. Zhang Chuanxia was in so much pain that she wanted to die. She stuffed Zhang Chuanxia's mouth with a foam agent. Zhang Chuanxia couldn't make a sound and fainted. The female murderer stuffed Zhang Chuanxia's lower body with the foam agent again and scolded, "Who asked you to do this?" She threw the knife to the male murderer and ordered, "Have you had enough fun? If you have, end her." The man took the knife and mercilessly slit Zhang Chuanxia's neck. The whole process was too violent and bloody. After watching it, Baya felt a chill run down her spine. She didn't look good either and shuddered. Chenbin handed her a cup of hot tea. The husband and wife are very mentally strong. They can do whatever they want in someone else's territory. Baya took the hot tea from Chenbin and took a sip. If they're mentally strong, why would they commit suicide? Could it be that they were tired of hiding and wanted to do something big, so they deliberately left the recording at the scene? Chenbin guessed. Why do you think they left the recording with the police? Baya asked. A demonstration. Baya twitched the corner of his mouth. If I were the murderer, I'd decide to commit suicide. I also hate the police and want to demonstrate to them. What I'd do is not wear a mask and let the police see that I did it. Then, I'd rent a boat and go out to sea. I'd tie rocks to my feet and jump into the sea. Yes, I'll make it so that the police won't be able to catch me for the rest of my life, Baya analyzed. Chenbin's expression turned grave. Are you saying that they didn't commit suicide? They've already left the video to the police on purpose. Do you think that they would intentionally describe the murder before dying? Baya retorted. So, they were murdered. Moreover, the murderer knows how they killed them. Could it really be LV Biao? Chenbin was horrified. He widened his eyes and looked at Baya. Baya was still calm. He took a sip of water and looked at Chenbin calmly. When they died, LV Biao should still be in the detention center. How could he kill them? All right. Chenbin breathed a sigh of relief. LV Biao's identity was special. It was fine as long as it wasn't LV Biao. There are a few sentences in the video. The first sentence is, Baya played the video and showed it to Chenbin. 500,000. Ha ha. Did you feel anything strange? Baya asked. Chenbin listened to it a few times and deduced from the results. The murderer didn't care about 500,000. Was it because they were preparing to commit suicide, so they weren't tempted by the money? Baya played another sentence that the murderer said after killing Zhang Chuanxia's mother. Watch your mouth, huh? Is it because she asked, "Where's my husband?" Chenbin asked, puzzled. Baya played the last sentence that the murderer said to Zhang Chuanxia. I'll make you despicable. The murderer's heart is twisted, Chenbin guessed. Baya put the glass of water on the table and sighed. She asked, let me ask you, did Zhang Chuanxia's father have $1 million in his bank account? He spent the money 2 days before his death as a down payment for a villa, Chenbin explained. That would explain why the murderer was so arrogant and full of disbelief. He knew Zhang Chuanxia's family situation like the back of his hand. Zhang Chuanxia's parents probably couldn't afford the loan for the villa, but they still bought it. That's because they had a way to make money. Baya analyzed. They got themselves killed because of this way of making money. Chenbin came to a sudden realization. The murderer also told them how to make money, Baya reminded him. Chenbin pondered. Then we have to start from the people that Zhang Chuanxia has been in contact with recently. Chenbin, you've never been a detective before, right? Baya said meaningfully. Chenbin's face was strangely red, but he was honest. Indeed, I haven't, but I'll try my best to learn. I actually already know who the murderer is, but we don't have any witnesses or material evidence at the moment. We can't convict him just by guessing. Baya shrugged. Who is it? Chenbin was surprised. The murderer couldn't have appeared at the scene. From the video, we can also see that there were 2 people who committed the crime. But why do you think the murderer knows everything about the crime? Baya glanced at the phone. Chenbin understood. The murderer saw the contents of the phone, but the phone was found yesterday. The only people who knew about it were me and a few police officers. Could it be those police officers? How much money do your police officers have? Even if they liked Zhang Chuanxia's family wouldn't like your police officers, Baya retorted. Could it be me? Chenbin was shocked. Baya was amused by Chenbin. Are you very rich? I can, And I have some power, Chunbin said honestly. Baya was amused by Chunbin again. It's not you. Think about it again. I think you'll know who it is after you sleep tonight. But there's nothing you can do even if you figure it out. There's no evidence, only speculation. I can see all the reports about the murderer's suicide tomorrow. It's from the forensics department, right? The higher-ups are paying more attention to this case. They're working overtime today. The forensics department will also send us all the things we need. Okay. Baya stood up and looked at her phone. It was already 10:45 a.m. Didn't you say that Governor Liu is treating us to dinner? Chunbin's eyes flashed with a strange look. Oh yes. We're meeting at 12 o'clock in room 312 of Savant's restaurant. Let's go there now. Baya followed Chunbin to Savant's restaurant. She should have met Governor Liu, but she didn't expect that it was Gu Lingqing who arrived instead of Governor Liu. Other than Gu Lingqing, he also brought a man with him. She didn't know him. Chapter 290. Gu Lingqing's deep gaze fell on her. He didn't say anything, as if he had said thousands of words. That strange yet familiar feeling overwhelmed her, and she didn't know how to deal with it. She lowered her head. Did you guys go to the wrong room? Someone beside Gu Lingqing asked. Baya immediately turned around. Chunbin held Baya's arm. I'll call and ask. Baya nodded. Chunbin smiled at Baya, his eyes filled with affection, and made the call. The phone rang outside the door. LV Xingzhou walked in with his phone and smiled. You're all here. I'm sorry, there was a bit of a traffic jam. Teacher Bai, LV Biao greeted warmly. Teacher Bai. LV Biao's mother didn't look too good. After all, Baya saved her son, and they didn't have a good relationship before. Baya nodded politely at them as a form of greeting. Chunbin saw LV Xingzhou coming over, so he hung up and said politely, It's rush hour. It'd be weird if we didn't gamble. Governor LV, you came at the right time. I thought we went to the wrong room. A friend has come from afar. Let me introduce him to you. LV Xingzhou looked at Gu Lingqing. Chief Gu from the Special Forces. Chief Gu, this is Baya, a famous psychiatrist, and Chunbin, the current police chief. Both of you are elites among the younger generation. When I was your age, I was still nothing. LV Xingzhou chatted with them as he sat down facing the door as the host. As the host, LV Biao sat on his left, and Gu Lingqing sat on LV Xingzhou's right, which was the most distinguished seat. Because it was booked in advance, and it was a room for an important person, the dishes were served quickly. The waiter poured red wine for everyone. Here, I'd like to thank Teacher Bai. I'm sorry, there was some misunderstanding between you and my wife. I was too busy at work and didn't know the details in time. Teacher Bai was wronged. I'd like to propose a toast to you. LV Xingzhou smiled and raised his glass. Baya raised her glass too. LV Biao's mother had a cowardly personality, and it was impossible for her not to report to LV Xingzhou. LV Xingzhou's words were spoken in front of everyone, and it had legal effect. He wanted to clear himself of the responsibility in the contract. If she smiled and agreed, not only would the contract not be terminated, but she would also suffer the consequences 3 months later. Some of the courtesies were not needed, and some of them were rejected. He couldn't refuse them just because of the occasion and face. Didn't your wife call you last time? Baya said directly and took a sip of wine. LV Xingzhou did not expect Baya to not give him face at all. His face was a little ugly, and he looked at his wife. Did you tell me about this? LV Xingzhou's wife's complexion was also very bad. She was stuttering. She said a lot of bad things about Baya in front of LV Biao. She did not want Baya to continue to be LV Biao's tutor, but she had to give her husband a way out. I have a bad memory, so I forgot. Fortunately, I have a good memory. However, business is business, and private is private. I followed the arrangements of the Research Institute and did what I should do. Governor Liu even specially invited me to dinner. I'm embarrassed. Let me propose a toast to Governor Liu, Baya replied. LV Xingzhou unhappily glared at his wife. There were so many people around, and it was not good for him to flare up, so he put on a fake smile and raised his wine glass, taking a sip. By the way, Governor Liu, Aren't you busy recently? Are you free at noon? Baya asked with a smile. It just so happens that I came to Jinyuan for an inspection today. I have some matters to settle. No matter how busy I am, I still have to eat. Kindness needs to be repaid. Fortunately, Teacher Bai is here. If it was someone else, they might not have been able to solve the case, LV Xingzhou replied. Governor Liu, you flatter me. If you do it, God will not let it go. If you don't do it, God will see it. Xiao Biao just needs to tell us where the mobile phone is. The video inside can prove Xiao Biao's innocence, Baiyo explained. Is that so? LV Xingzhou looked at Chunbin in surprise. Chunbin nodded. That's right. However, when we asked your son, he didn't say anything. He. Sigh. LV Xingzhou sighed. Only you can control my son. I'm very sincere in hiring you as Xiao Biao's teacher again. Teacher Bai, LV Biao shouted. I like you. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. He looked at Baya, raised his wine glass, and took a sip to drown his sorrows. Baya also raised his wine glass and smiled at LV Biao. Actually, you never needed me. Others don't believe in you, but I believe in you. One day, you'll become a very useful person. Remember, don't make mistakes, don't take a wrong step. LV Biao's eyes reddened. He raised his wine glass and said, Teacher Bai, thank you. Baya clinked his glass against the table, then drank all the wine in the glass in one gulp. LV Biao also drank all the wine in his glass. Pour some wine for your teacher, Bai, LV Xingzhou reminded him. LV Biao picked up the glass bottle and walked to Baya's side to pour some wine. Chunbin also raised his glass. Here's to you. Thank you for coming. I don't deserve it. I still have to thank you for saving me. Baya raised his wine glass. Can I take it as fate bestowed upon me by God? Chunbin said with a smile. He clinked his glass with Baya's and drank all the wine in one gulp. Baya saw him drink it. If he didn't, he would be too petty. LV Xingzhou saw the clues. You guys knew each other before this? I think it's a good fate, Chunbin said with a smile, with the ambiguity of a mature man. Gu Lingqing drank all the wine in his glass in one gulp again. His eyes were deep like a 10,000-year-old deep pool, unfathomable. Teacher Bai, do you have a boyfriend now? LV Xingzhou asked. Baya looked down and glanced at Gu Lingqing from the corner of her eyes. Perhaps they were too far apart, so she couldn't see his expression clearly. Did she have a boyfriend? Su Jiran, forget it. Yes, Baya said with certainty, which also cut off Chunbin's thoughts. Chunbin was indeed a little disappointed, but he was still very polite. He praised, It must be a blessing to be your boyfriend. I hope so, Baya said ambiguously. The waiter poured red wine for her. LV Xingzhou changed the topic and looked at Gu Lingqing. Chief, do you have a girlfriend? Yes. Gu Lingqing answered and drank all the wine in his glass again. He looked like he didn't want to say more. LV Xingzhou poured wine for Gu Lingqing. Then the person who becomes Chief Gu's girlfriend must be very happy. Here's to you. Gu Lingqing did not say anything and drank all the wine in his glass. Baya stared at him. Gu Lingqing was a very responsible person. Once he got married, he would be responsible for his marriage, his wife, and his children. He would not do anything that would let his family down. This kind of man was very good, really good. Chief Gu, I wish you the best. Baya said sincerely and raised his glass. Chapter 291. Baya's heart tightened. Before she could stand up, she heard the person next to Gu Lingqing say in panic, Chief, you're bleeding. Gu Lingqing frowned and said in a low voice, It doesn't matter. Don't make a fuss. Baya stood up, held Gu Lingqing's hand, and pulled out the glass piece. Don't think it's a small injury. If it's not treated properly, it will become a serious injury. Chief is an important military leader of the country, so you should take care of your body. The waiter came over with the hotel's medical kit. Baya bent down and carefully treated Gu Lingqing's wound. Gu Lingqing looked at her with deep eyes. Under the light fell on her body. Because she lowered her head, the silhouette of her hair fell on the side of her face, and it looked like a shadow falling on the wall. Some scenes of her helping him bandage his wound flashed in her mind. In the scenes, Baya was still wearing a white coat, and she was helping him bandage his arm. If he didn't have an accident, if he didn't lose his memory, maybe they would have been together a long time ago. When Baya was helping him bandage his hand, he held her hand. Baya felt that his palm was very hot, so hot that her fingertips trembled. She looked at Gu Lingqing in confusion and met his dark eyes. "Let go of my hand. Don't bother you," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice, and let go of Baya's hand. Her heart sank. Indeed, she cared too much about him, and with their current relationship, it was not suitable. She stood up and said to LV Xingzhou, "I'm going to the bathroom. There's one in this private room." LV Xingzhou gestured to the waiter. The waiter pushed open the built-in bathroom in the private room. Baya walked in, turned on the tap, and washed the red blood on her hands. This was Gu Lingqing's blood. Her heart ached, and she looked at herself in the mirror. "This is what you want, right?" Her reflection in the mirror didn't answer. She took a deep breath, adjusted her emotions, and turned to leave. LV Xingzhou put down his phone and said to Gu Lingqing, "Chief, your hand is injured, so don't drink. Why do you want freshly squeezed drinks? The grains here are not bad." "Then let's have some grains," said one of Gu Lingqing's subordinates. "Give me another portion of freshly squeezed grains," LV Xingzhou ordered the waiter. After a while, the 5 grains and miscellaneous grains were served. LV Xingzhou poured some wine for Gu Lingqing, then said to Baya, "Teacher Bai, you've drunk quite a lot of wine. It's not easy for a girl to be outside, and you came here alone, so you should change to drinking grains. And Xiao Biao, you're still a child after all." LV Xingzhou gestured to the attendant. The waiter poured the 5 grains for Baya and LV Biao. Baya no longer had any appetite. She casually ate some dishes and drank a cup of mixed grains. Feeling a little hot, she looked at the air conditioner and softly said to the attendant, "Could you please lower the air conditioner?" "Okay." LV Xingzhou looked at the time on his phone. "Yo, it's almost 1:30. I still have a meeting in the afternoon. How about we call it a day? When I'm free, we can get together again another night." "All right, I have to go back to the police station too." Chenbin looked at Baya. "Are you going to the police station or the hotel now? I'll send you first." Baya was uncomfortably hot, and her head was heavy. "I'll go back to the hotel to rest first. I'll go to the police station later." "Okay, your face is very red. You probably drank too much. Red wine has a strong after effect." Chenbin helped Baya stand up. Baya was a little dizzy, and she leaned on Chenbin. Her body felt weak, which was not normal. She was also a little wet, as if she had been drugged. But then again, it was impossible. She was eating with them, so it didn't make sense that she was the only one affected. Maybe it was the combined effect of the toxins in her body and the alcohol. She wanted to leave this place as soon as possible and return to her own private space. Gu Lingqing frowned when he saw how intimate they were. "I'll stay in the same hotel as Miss Bai. I'm going back now, so I'll bring you along." Baya instinctively didn't want Gu Lingqing to know about her situation. She nodded at Gu Lingqing. "Chief is very busy, so I won't trouble you. I still have something to tell Chief Chen." "Thank you. I don't have anything to do in the afternoon." "Aren't you going to the police station later? You don't dare to get my car?" Gu Lingqing asked. Baya didn't understand what Gu Lingqing meant. When they met in the morning, didn't he pretend to be cold and didn't know her? Now he wanted to send her back? "I just feel that I'm not close to Chief Gu," Baya explained. "Not close." Gu Lingqing felt that this sentence was familiar. "I'm very close to your boyfriend. He's my childhood cousin. I'll give you a lift." Gu Lingqing couldn't help but hold Baya's arm. He didn't even say goodbye and took her away. His men immediately followed Gu Lingqing. Chenbin was surprised. So Baya's boyfriend was Chief Gu's childhood cousin. It seemed that he was either rich or powerful. He also left. Only LV Xingzhou and his family were left in the room. "Dad, I'm not feeling well," LV Biao said, leaning on the table. His face was strangely red. "What's wrong? Did he eat something wrong?" LV Biao's mother said worriedly. "I'll take him to the hospital. You stay here to settle the bill." LV Xingzhou carried LV Biao downstairs and left through the back door. He put LV Biao in the limousine. There was a young woman in the limousine. She was beautiful and charming. "Serve her well," LV Xingzhou ordered. He got into the passenger seat. Our men are all in ambush. Do you want to make a move now? LV Xingzhou's man, who was sitting in the driver's seat, asked. Gu Lingqing actually took the initiative to take Baiyo Wei. He saved us a lot of effort. Even God is helping me. Follow closely. LV Xingzhou curled the corner of his mouth and looked in front of him sinisterly. Baiya's whole body was weak. She was brought into the limousine by Gu Lingqing. She leaned against the door. Her muscles were tense and her fists were clenched. Her whole body was trembling. She restrained, and restrained again. However, her body was in turmoil. She couldn't take it anymore. Chief, Gu Lingqing's man got into the driver's seat. Gu Lingqing held the chair tightly. The sweat on his face was dripping down. He said sternly, Go to the hotel. Pay attention to whether there's anyone following us. Yes. His man saw the unusual redness on the chief's face. He also felt that something was wrong. He immediately drove. Baiya really couldn't take it anymore. She wanted to die right now. Waves of emotions rushed to her abdomen. She gritted her teeth. She turned around and kissed Gu Lingqing's lips. At that moment, sparks flew everywhere. He used all his willpower to resist, but the person who kissed him was the woman he had always loved. Chapter 292. This kiss was out of control. It was like Tianlei and Hellfire, Hylon and the beach, rock and silk. Their breathing became heavier and heavier. They forgot the time, the occasion, the identity, and the environment they were in. Gu Lingqing pressed Baiya down on the chair. She wrapped her legs around his strong waist and closed the distance between them. Gu Lingqing's men noticed something strange and looked at the rearview mirror. You don't want your eyes anymore, Gu Lingqing said sternly. Look ahead and drive your car. His men didn't dare to look. They sat upright, looked straight ahead, and held the steering wheel tightly. Gu Lingqing pulled down the curtain of the right window and sat in the chair. He held Baiya with one hand and pulled down the curtain of the left window when she sat in his arms. Staff Officer Zhong didn't expect that the chief, who was in the Forbidden Valley, would be so confused. He could not see with his eyes, but he was not deaf. Their passionate voices mixed into seductive music, which made people blush and their hearts beat faster. He took a deep breath, swallowed his saliva, and took another deep breath. Fortunately, he had a strong willpower. Otherwise, at this time, he really wanted to find his fifth young lady. Baiya held Gu Lingqing's back with both hands, her face close to his, and her chin on Gu Lingqing's shoulder. She knew that the current situation was not right, but the drug in her body had gone beyond her reason. Like a person falling into the sea, she would involuntarily grab the driftwood around her and hold on tightly. After he came once, she still held him tightly and didn't want to let go. Because she hadn't reached the place she wanted to go, the desire to survive consumed her reason. She took the initiative to kiss his earlobe, but she hated herself for this behavior. Why did she do this? What went wrong? She turned her face away and clenched her fists. Gu Lingqing pinched her chin and made her face him. Baiya stared at him. Her eyes were misty with tears, as well as the hallucinations because of the unrequited love. Out of embarrassment, he lowered his eyes awkwardly. However, this embarrassment could not suppress the surging of his blood. More. Gu Lingqing saw the clues. He guessed that the problem was with the last 5 grains. He had only taken a few sips, but he could already feel the strong need. She had finished a big cup. Baiya leaned on his shoulder and said softly, I feel terrible. As soon as she spoke, she realized that her voice sounded sweet, like the soft words of Wu Nong, with a hint of pleading. Staff Officer Zhong, take a big detour before returning to the hotel. Gu Lingqing ordered. Yes, Staff Officer Zhong replied and cleared his throat. Baiya was so ashamed that she couldn't show her face. Although others couldn't see anything, they were in the car and his men were driving. If she was sober, she would rather die than do such a thing. He let her lean against the driver's seat. Baiya subconsciously pushed his hand away, but she felt uncomfortable. In this tug-of-war, he had the dominant advantage. 10 minutes later, Baiya had no strength left and the effects of the drug gradually weakened with the outbreak. However, in the end, he still wanted her. He carried her back to the hotel and put her on his bed. She didn't want to move at all. Asterisk, boss. The pigeon has returned to its nest with its prey. LV Xingzhou's men reported. LV Xingzhou's lips twitched. Move. He took the room card that he stole from the waiter and opened the presidential suite where Gu Lingqing lived. He saw Gu Lingqing sitting in front of the computer and staff officer Zhong standing beside him. The reporter was shocked. What? It was different from the scene he had imagined. Fu Yuhuang's sharp gaze swept over the reporter, and he was secretive. Who are you? How did you get in? Staff officer Zhong asked sternly. Oh, I'm from Jinyuan Daily. I'm here for an interview with Ms. Bai. Is she here? The reporter asked with a smile. He had already prepared his lines. She wasn't in this presidential suite. How did you find her here? Staff officer Zhong asked suspiciously. I've been waiting at the door and saw you carry her in, the reporter explained with a pale face. Since you know she was carried in, you should know that she doesn't have the energy to do an interview now. Oh, I'll come back later. The reporter wanted to leave. Wait, Gu Lingqing said. The reporter's back was stiff. He slowly turned around, and Fu Yuhuang was already standing in front of him. Fu Yuhuang stared at him and ordered, Call the police. You're from Jinyuan Daily, right? Yes. Staff officer Zhong made the call. Seeing that he had been exposed, the reporter quickly ran out. Gu Lingqing grabbed the reporter and threw him to the ground. He took out a gun and shot at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing dodged the bullet. Bang! Baya opened her eyes wide in panic and got out of bed. She opened the door and saw the reporter at the door. The reporter also saw Baya. He raised his gun and aimed at Baya and pulled the trigger. Gu Lingqing saw the reporter raise his gun at Baya. At the critical moment, he closed the door. The bullet hit the door. Go in, Gu Lingqing said to Baya. Baya was worried about Gu Lingqing. She didn't go in. Instead, she ran to his side and held his arm. She said firmly, I'll be with you. Gu Lingqing looked at her gently. This sentence, I'll be with you, was better than thousands of words and thousands of mountains and rivers. He pulled her to the back of the sofa and held her back. Lie down. Baya had a very familiar feeling. She remembered that when they first met, he also protected her like this. He was full of masculinity and injected a trace of warmth into her cold heart. If she died to protect him today, she would be satisfied. Gu Lingqing originally wanted to catch the reporter, but because of her, he couldn't take the risk. He signaled to Staff Officer Zhong. Staff Officer Zhong opened the door. The reporter had already run away. After confirming that there was no danger, he signaled to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing didn't let down his guard. He got up first and went to the door. After patrolling outside, he went to Baya and helped her up. Who is that person? Why does he want to kill you? Baya asked worriedly. After asking, he realized that he had asked the wrong question. It might be related to his military secrets. He changed his words. You are an important leader of the country. How dare you take a soldier out for a stroll? Hurry up and go back. That person's target should be us, not just me, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya furrowed her brows. What do you mean? Gu Lingqing's face was a little flushed, and his voice was a little hoarse. Do you still remember what happened in the car just now? Baya. Chapter 293. She was very embarrassed. She turned around with her back facing Gu Lingqing and mumbled softly, I think I ate something bad. Gu Lingqing hugged her waist and pulled her into his arms. LV Xingzhou drugged the food. Baya was surprised and turned to look at Gu Lingqing. His face was right next to hers. When she turned her head, she accidentally touched his face. Her lips seemed to have an electric current flashing through them. She felt her heart palpitating. She wanted to calm herself down as soon as possible and not let the throbbing affect her thoughts. Other than you, I drank the food. LV Biao drank it too. LV Biao is LV Xingzhou's son. He wouldn't harm his son too, would he? Gu Lingqing did not say anything. He looked at Baya with a burning gaze. Baya confirmed this information from his determined gaze. She guessed, that person just now was also sent by LV Xingzhou. Gu Lingqing nodded. I think so. He used a room card to open my room door. He'd probably want to take a photo of you and me. He didn't see you and lied that he was from a news agency. I said I was going to call the police, so he shot me in desperation. Why'd he do that? He took a photo of me and you. Baya paused. She did not say the sensitive words at the end. It was as if her heart would become sensitive if she touched those sensitive words. What good does he have? Although I did not make it public when I was in trouble, those who paid attention would still know about it. LV Xingzhou also thought that the piece of land I requisitioned had treasures. Moreover, he suspected that I was here to investigate him because of Tang Xiaojiu's incident. So, he had to chase me away. As for you, he thought that you were too smart, so he wanted to deal with you together. He purposely asked if we were in a relationship during the dinner party. He wanted to confirm the feasibility of his plan. If he took a picture of us, he would have something to use against us. That way, he would be able to put us in danger and buy himself some insurance. Gu Lingqing analyzed. Baya felt that Gu Lingqing's analysis was correct and said solemnly, I'm afraid that the reason why LV Xingzhou wants to kill me is because he's worried that I'll find out that he was the one who killed Zhang Chunxia's family, and that he was the one who killed the assassin he hired. You're saying that LV Xingzhou killed Zhang Chunxia's family? Do you have any proof? There's no evidence. It's all just my guess. LV Xingzhou had the culprit purposely record the video so that the police wouldn't suspect LV Biao, but he didn't expect LV Biao to go to the scene and take away the phone. The police arrested Liu Biao, but Liu Biao didn't say anything, and there was no video found at the scene. LV Xingzhou guessed that LV Biao had taken it. He knew LV Biao, so he found LV Biao's hidden phone and saw the recording. In order not to implicate his son, he sent someone else to kill the murderer and wrote down the whole process of the crime to clear LV Biao's name. Baya analyzed. We can't convict him without evidence, right? Baya thought of Xing Bachuan and Su Jiran. They had done many wrong things, and indeed, there was no retribution yet. As for Baya, she didn't do anything wrong, but she didn't have long to live. Baya removed Gu Lingqing's hand from her waist. I'm going back. Xiaoya, are you still not willing to be with me? Gu Lingqing looked down at her and asked in a low voice. Baya recalled what happened in the car, and her face flushed. She lowered her head and said softly, what happened in the car wasn't my intention, so just forget about it. You're going to get married soon, too. You actually believe such a lie? Gu Lingqing looked down at her and said. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing in surprise. It's a lie? Gu Lingqing gently rubbed her head. Because of me, Su Jiran forced you too much. Only when I'm going to get married and stay away from you can you have space to breathe. Baya understood. He was thinking for her. Her heart was sour, and her eyes were also bitter. She wanted to say a lot of words, but they were choked in her throat. He had no future with her. Su Jiran and I are already a couple, Baya said cruelly. I know you have feelings for me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come to my side as soon as I was injured. When we met an assassin, you wouldn't have stood by my side without hesitation, Gu Lingqing said with certainty. You were injured because I used to be a doctor, so I came to your side. When we met an assassin, I stood by your side without hesitation because I felt safe enough by your side, Baya explained. Because of her guilty conscience, she didn't even dare to look at Gu Lingqing. Since you feel safe enough by my side, why can't you come to my side? Do you know how unsafe I feel now? When I sleep, when I work, when I rest, I think about what you're doing. What are you doing with Su Jiran? Every time I think about it, I can't breathe. Xiaoya, just like what you said to me just now, I'll be with you. No matter what we go through, it's fine as long as we're together. I don't care about fame or money. I only care about whether I'm with you or not. Gu Lingqing confessed. Baya trembled all over. His last sentence, to her, was the most fatal. She raised her head and looked at Gu Lingqing. She saw pain and affection in his eyes. She could give him her body and her heart, but she couldn't give him anything when they were together. Her life was in someone else's hands. If he stayed with her for one more day, he would only suffer one more day. I'm sorry, Gu Lingqing. Thank you for still liking me so much, but I don't want to be with you. I'm afraid of trouble. I'm afraid of being annoyed. Once I encounter something that makes me agitated or in pain, my mental state won't be too good. When I'm with you, I have to take psychotropic drugs and sleeping pills every day. I'm about to collapse, and I can't bear it. After leaving you, my mood has calmed down a lot, and I don't need to take drugs and sleeping pills. I'm selfish. Compared to being with you, I want to be healthy more, but you're rejected coldly. What if I can create a peaceful sky for you? Gu Lingqing locked his gaze on her and asked, "You're saying if too? We'll talk about it when the peaceful sky appears. However, I advise you not to work hard. In fact, I haven't known you for a long time. It's easy to forget the feelings of 10 years, let alone the two of us who don't love each other deeply," Baya said coldly. The words "not love each other deeply" were enough to send him to hell. Why did he feel that he had already fallen in love with her so deeply that he wanted to give up everything for her and take her abroad? He didn't want to be a general anymore. He just wanted to be an ordinary office worker who could support her and their child. Chapter 294. Baya went back to her room in a daze. The last 4 words that Gu Lingqing said kept lingering in her mind. "I will never abandon you in this life." She sat on the sofa and stared blankly at the air. It seemed that God was kind to her to be loved like this. She had always been self-centered and felt that she was pitiful. God had never been kind to her. Now thinking about it, it was not her who was more pitiful, but Gu Lingqing. She closed her eyes, and everything in the world had nothing to do with her anymore. But what about Gu Lingqing? What should he do? She lived alone, without a lover to accompany her. She lived like this for 6 years. As long as she thought of the person she loved, she would feel sad and suffocated. The air was thin. That kind of desolation came from her heart. Even a lively environment, she forgot how to smile. What should Gu Lingqing do? Her heart was very painful, so painful that it almost twitched. She lay on the sofa and curled up her body. She had hated herself before. Why didn't she hypnotize her memory of Gu Lingqing when she was hypnotized? In that way, she would not have fallen in love with Gu Lingqing, and she would not have felt pain, entanglement, and heartache. Now thinking about it, if she didn't remember Gu Lingqing would be more pitiful. This was the reason why she didn't hypnotize her heart at that time. In the past, Baya loved Gu Lingqing deeply. Now, Baya still loved Gu Lingqing deeply. In fact, hypnosis didn't change anything except for curing her own mental problems. She lay quietly for 2 hours. When she heard the doorbell, she didn't want to move. She just wanted to lie quietly like this and slowly ease the heartache. But the person outside didn't seem to have the idea of giving up and kept pressing the doorbell. Baya still didn't want to open it. It was quiet outside for a while. Suddenly, she heard the sound of ticking, and the door was opened. She got up in surprise and looked at the door. Su Jiran dragged his suitcase and stood at the door. Seeing her, his eyes were dark and unclear, as if he was examining and waiting for something. Standing next to him was the room manager. When the room manager saw Baya, she smiled and explained, "He said that he's your boyfriend. We pressed the doorbell for a long time and thought that you weren't here." "I fell asleep," Baya explained and stood up. "Why are you here?" "What? You don't welcome me?" Su Jiran asked in return. The corners of his mouth curled up as he dragged his luggage towards her. "Indeed, I'm not very welcome here," Baya said bluntly. "You can always make my unhappy mood even more unhappy. This hasn't changed in the past 6 years." As Su Jiran spoke, he walked in front of her. "So, you still insist on being with a woman like me, who doesn't know how to be cultured?" Baya said coldly. 10 years to grind away a slut. We haven't even been together for 7 years. "Let's see if I can grind away my slut in 10 years, Su Jiran said in a deep voice. His expression was very serious, and he did not seem to be joking. Since he was so self-deprecating, Baya had nothing to say. "I'm going to the police station in a while," Baya changed her words. "You don't look well. Are you not feeling well?" Su Jiran's tone softened. Baya shook her head. "You know the condition of my body. All right, I won't talk about it anymore. You can do whatever you want." Baya picked up her bag and went out. She walked to the side of the road to get a taxi. When the wind blew, it was a little cold, and she shivered. Baya. Chinbin's car stopped in front of her. Baya looked at Chinbin. What a coincidence. Why are you here? I'm here to look for you. Get in the car, Chinbin said with a heavy expression. Baya guessed that he had thought it through. She got in the passenger seat and put on the seat belt. I thought about what you said before, and I feel that it does make sense. Could it be that Zhang Chunxia's family blackmailed the Liu family again, wanted to buy the villa, and the Liu family was so angry that they sent an assassin? Then, when the assassin was about to be caught, they ordered someone to kill the assassin. Chinbin guessed. Baya nodded. If that's the case, then I can't find anything unreasonable about it. Is there any evidence? Chinbin frowned. He looked ahead, and his eyes flashed with a strange light. No. If there is, your police station would have gone to arrest them. This case will probably cause a stir in the whole of country. Baya looked ahead with flagging interest. Then what should we do? We can't let the assassin get away with it, right? Chinbin said worriedly. Baya looked at him. Heaven's Net has a long way to go. Didn't you? And I already know the truth? Now that we've gathered all the information about the assassin, maybe the turning point is right in front of us. Chinbin clenched his fists and looked at Baya. His gaze was a little strange. It seemed to be heartache, reluctance, and mixed with complicated feelings. What's wrong? Baya noticed Chinbin and asked, puzzled. I feel sorry for LV Biao. He was born in that kind of family. Chinbin frowned. Maybe this is what he should bear. After all, he's really stronger than Zhang Chunxia. It's not that he doesn't want revenge. It's just that it's not time yet. Baya sighed. Do you think there's really retribution in this world? Chinbin asked, looking at Baya. There should be. It's because of this that more people control their actions, right? Yes. Do you want some water? Chinbin asked. Baya shook her head and looked out of the window. I don't want to drink. You don't seem to be going in the direction of the police station. I'll bring you somewhere, Chinbin said. Baya subconsciously put up her guard. Where are we going? Chinbin found a tree shade and stopped the car by the roadside. He looked at Baya. Do you know why I was transferred to Jinyuan City to be the bureau chief? My previous job has nothing to do with this. Why? Baya had a bad feeling. I'm LV Xingzhou's man, Chinbin said. Baya did not expect this. She turned around and tried to open the car door, but Chinbin had already locked the door. He took out a handkerchief from the cabinet, sprayed it with ether, and covered Baya's nose. Baya quickly held her breath and looked at Chinbin incredulously with her horrified eyes. Chinbin did not let go. He continued to cover her nose and said regretfully, I'm sorry. I just found out that the murderer was LV Xingzhou. He called me and asked me to kidnap you. If I didn't do that, not only would I lose my position, but my family and friends as well. I didn't expect that you would be the one transferred from the top to help us solve the case. I thought we were fated. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have offended Governor LV. The power behind him is beyond your imagination. Chapter 295. After an unknown amount of time, she opened her eyes. The sky was already dark, and she couldn't see anything. Her hands and feet were tied with ropes. She felt her body was floating. It should be on the surface of the water. Xiaoya, Xiaoya. She heard Gu Lingqing's voice and thought she was hearing things. Did she miss Gu Lingqing too much? Xiaoya, Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing's voice came again. She heard it clearly and quickly replied, I'm here, Gu Lingqing, Gu Lingqing. The light from the phone's flashlight shone in. Gu Lingqing opened the lid of the wooden box. Baya saw Gu Lingqing and asked in surprise, Why are you here? Gu Lingqing untied the ropes on Baya's body and explained, It's a long story. Let's leave here first. Chinbin is still outside. Chinbin is outside? Baya panicked. She held Gu Lingqing's hand and said anxiously, Chinbin is LV Xingzhou's man. He was the one who kidnapped me and brought me here. What? Gu Lingqing sensed the danger. He heard a swoosh outside and opened the window. A flash of fire came. He didn't have time to think. He held Baya's hand and jumped out of the window. With a bang, the bomb exploded on the boat. Then, there were 9 deafening explosions. The boat was blown into pieces and sank. Gu Lingqing was shocked. Many things flashed in his mind. He had a terrible headache. He shook his head and tried not to think about it. He felt the pain and looked at Baya, who was also shocked. Wait for me here. Baya held Gu Lingqing's hand. There were only the two of them on the vast sea. She knew that she would soon be exhausted and drown in the sea. At this time, she did not want to be separated from him. Even if she died, she wanted to be together with him. We're running out of time. I'll come up and tell you later, Gu Lingqing said anxiously and then went downstream. She was the only one on the surface of the sea. It was pitch black all around, and she couldn't see any cameras. She seemed to have seen this scene before in her dreams. She was the only one in the world, facing endless loneliness and darkness. She remembered the self-rescue strategies she had seen on TV after falling into the sea. She took off her trousers and twirled them around to absorb the air. She tied a knot at the trouser legs and tightened the waistband around her neck. According to the video, this kind of simple swimming ring could last for 2 hours. What about 2 hours later? This should be the deep sea. Even if they were not eaten by sharks, they would starve to death or die of thirst. After waiting for a long time, Gu Lingqing did not come out. Was there a need for her to survive alone? 7 minutes later, a large piece of wood floated beside him. Baya was shocked. Gu Lingqing came out of the water, gasping for breath. Gu Lingqing. She smiled happily when she saw him coming out. With him by her side, even if she was in hell, she would feel warm. Gu Lingqing smiled at Baya. We're very lucky. There's no wind today. You hold this board first. I'll connect the other boards. Okay, Baya replied. She could not see Gu Lingqing anymore when he swam, but she could hear the sound of him swimming in the water. She knew that he was by her side. She put on her trousers and lay on the board. Her mood was unusually calm. Half an hour later, Gu Lingqing connected the other 3 boards with a rope and swam towards her. I'll tie your board to the bottom. I'll tie the last board to the bottom, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. It was rare for him to smile. At this moment, his smile made her feel very relieved. I'll help you. Gu Lingqing nodded. Come here and press on the board on my side. Try to press down and let the other side rise. Okay. Baya swam to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing swam to her side. She tried to press down, but her strength was too little. She was almost lying on one side of the board. Gu Lingqing pressed on the board on his side and came up from the ground. They succeeded on the first try. Gu Lingqing tied the rope to the board. Why do you have so many ropes? Baya asked curiously. I saw some inside when I was looking for you. In addition, other than the wooden box that they use to store you, the bed and the wine barrel are all made of wood. Unfortunately, the wine barrel was blown into pieces and has no value. You go up first, Gu Lingqing explained. Okay. Baya climbed to the top of the board and lay on her stomach. She didn't dare to move, afraid that she would roll down and burden Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing climbed up and pulled out a few plastic bags from the water. What are these? Baya was surprised. There was a water dispenser on the ship. There was still more than half of the water in the big bucket on the water dispenser. Unfortunately, it was blown up. I found 3 bottles of mineral water. We can use it for a few days if we save it. Also, I took all the empty mineral water bottles. They can be used to make distilled water. And some other things. All sorts of things are still hanging down there. I took everything that I could take. Maybe it will be useful, Gu Lingqing explained. You did so many things in just a few minutes. Baya was impressed. She didn't admire soldiers, but she felt that it was amazing. Holding my breath is not my strong point. Usually, I can do it for 7 to 8 minutes. There's an Italian Guinness Book winner, David Molini, who can hold his breath for 20 minutes and 55 seconds. Won't you die if you don't breathe for 20 minutes and 55 seconds? Baya was very surprised. This requires special training. There's a group of sea women who live by the sea. They can hold their breath for 3 minutes on average. When they go to the bottom of the sea to salvage, they can also hold their breath for 7 to 8 minutes. However, they are afraid that it will burden their bodies, so they are not allowed to do it. Have you also undergone special training? Baya tilted her head and asked him. Although she had known him for a long time, she never asked about his military affairs. Yes, it's necessary for combat, Gu Lingqing responded. Some scenes flashed in his mind, and he looked down. That time, he went out to carry out a mission. When he boarded the ship, he was recognized by the other party as Gu Lingxing. They fought. The other party was outnumbered and ignited all the cereal bombs on the ship. He jumped into the sea and was hit in the head by a part of the ship. He fainted and held his breath for more than 8 minutes. He was rescued, but part of his memory was lost. Gu Lingxing, Baiya shouted. Gu Lingxing came back to his senses and looked at Baiya. That day, in order to test him, those people captured Baiya, saying that she was Gu Lingxing's girlfriend. When he left, he ordered his men to save her in a roundabout way. At that time, she was investigating Luoyang City in Jinyang City, while he was investigating the serial bomb case in Jinyuan City. The serial bomb case was because someone used a serial bomb during Blue Wolf drill, causing 8 soldiers of Blue Wolf to suffer different degrees of injuries. The murderer who used the serial bomb was Miller. At that time, Miller did not die. After recognizing him, he drove the yacht and left early. Chapter 296. I was a little dazed. She didn't understand what he meant at that moment. I said, I found all my lost memories, explained Gu Lingxing. He looked at Baiya's expression. You didn't tell those people that I'm Gu Lingxing on purpose. It's because I met an old rival during my mission and he recognized me. Baiya stared at Gu Lingxing. Many complicated thoughts flashed through her mind. It was hope. It was touching. It was because all her grievances had found a place to belong. It was also a sense of loss and gloom. He had regained his memories. Before this, she really wanted him to. He remembered everything in their past. The sweet, the sad, and the hard work they had together. Now, what could she do after knowing? Baiya turned around and looked into the distance. A gust of wind blew over. It was very cold. She shivered. Gu Lingxing hugged her from behind. His warm body temperature surrounded her instantly. Her back stiffened, still vaguely resisting something. Xiaoya, do you know how long the ship has been sailing for? Asked Gu Lingxing softly. What? Baiya looked at Gu Lingxing in confusion. Her heart trembled violently when she met his affectionate gaze. We sailed for more than 6 hours and found you. We're in the deep sea now, explained Gu Lingxing. She guessed that they were in the deep sea. If they were by the sea, LV Xingzhou would have blown them up. The sound would be too loud. Only in the deep sea could they be undetected. LV Xingzhou is indeed ruthless, but he seems to have underestimated your ability to survive. Baiya smiled bitterly. Gu Lingxing held her chin and lowered his head. Baiya stepped back subconsciously. Pain flashed through Gu Lingxing's eyes. If we can't go back anymore and die on this sea, you still won't open your heart to me? With your ability, we will definitely be able to go back, right? Your chief of staff will also carry out a search and rescue operation after seeing that you have disappeared for a few days, Baiya said with certainty. I know something happened to you, so I was in a hurry to come out. Chenbin sent my men away. Even if they come to rescue us, they won't know that something happened to us at sea. Do you think they will come to rescue us at sea? Gu Lingxing asked. Baiya's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Gu Lingxing, trying to find traces of lying on his face, but there was none. Will we die at sea? Baiya asked. Gu Lingxing looked down at her. I might die, I might not. I don't want to die with regrets. Xiaoya, you still love me, right? She really didn't want to. She didn't want to struggle anymore. Pushing him away again and again was very tiring. She did not know what tomorrow would bring. Salvation or death. At the very least, he could maintain his current peace of mind. Is there any reason why I don't like you? In order not to marry Su Shaoling and protest to your parents, you cut off your little finger. In order not to marry Zhou Hailon, you lost your house and money, Baiya said. Her eyes were red. It sounded like she was scolding him, but her tone was touched. When Gu Lingxing heard that she did not deny it, he smiled. He lowered his head and kissed her lips. Once, twice, thrice. He pushed in and kissed her for a long time. The sky started to turn white. Baiya leaned into his arms and looked at the sky. The red sun rose from the horizon. It dyed the surrounding clouds red and slowly jumped out of the water. What a beautiful, pure sunrise, Baya exclaimed. Gu Lingqing chuckled. Baya looked up at him. What are you laughing at? He lowered his head and kissed her. The sun is beautiful now because it's still far away from us. In fact, it's very dangerous to be baked at sea. After a day, your face will get sunburned. Yeah, Baya replied. This was her first time drifting on the sea. She had watched a survival show before, but she had forgotten the details. Gu Lingqing pulled out a parasol from under the boat and opened it. You even have this? Baya exclaimed. I think the owner of the boat used it to rest at the bow. I think it will be useful, so I took it. We'll go with the direction of the wind. Gu Lingqing fixed the parasol horizontally on the boat. Baya helped. After he was done, he spread the net into the sea and put it away. When the net was put away, there were indeed fish. There were more than 10 of them. They were not big, just a little thicker than a thumb. Baya was surprised. There are really fish? Gu Lingqing smiled. Later, I'll use a mineral water bottle to make distilled water. If it's successful, we won't die after floating on the sea for more than 10 days. More than 10 days? Baya pondered. Gu Lingqing scratched her nose. What are you thinking about? Tomorrow's matter was too far away for her. She did not want to think about it anymore. Even if she only had more than 10 days to live, she wanted to spend it happily with him. What should we do with the fish? Eat it raw? Baya asked. Gu Lingqing pulled out a large net bag from below. He opened the seal and took out 2 pots, a kitchen knife, and a chopping board. Baya was surprised. You took everything? There are only 2 good pots. I wanted to take a few more, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya smiled. Why do I feel like I can spend the rest of my life on this boat? You can think about it. Anyway, you're an obstetrician and you've delivered babies before. However, I'm worried that the boat is too small. We can have 1 or 2 babies, but if we have more, the boat won't be able to accommodate us, Gu Lingqing joked. Baya smiled faintly. She knew that Gu Lingqing was joking. It was a sunny day now. When the storm came, it would not be easy for the 2 of them to survive. Gu Lingqing washed the fish. Let me do it. I'm good at this. You can catch more fish. It's just right for the pot. Catch more in case of emergencies, Baya said as she took the kitchen knife from Gu Lingqing's hand. She cleaned the fish. Gu Lingqing kept catching fish. After 3 hours, the pot was full. Baya washed the fish clean. However, she did not know how to eat it. It smelled fishy. Gu Lingqing glanced at Baya and joked. If I knew, I would have brought some ginger, MSG, cooking wine, soy sauce, and mustard. Baya was amused by Gu Lingqing. Maybe the environment is not that bad. Maybe I'm not hungry enough. Well, I'm about to faint from hunger. I think I can even eat a pot, let alone raw fish. I got an idea. Gu Lingqing poured all the washed fish into a plastic bag and put the pot under the sun. She looked at the sky. I think after an hour, the temperature of the pot will reach 60 degrees Celsius. It's still possible to roast the fish. Chapter 297. All right, you haven't slept since last night. Sleep for a while, and I'll watch over you. Baya sat up and said, You didn't sleep last night either. I can stay up for a few days. You sleep first, Gu Lingqing said softly. I've been sleeping. You sleep. I want to enjoy the sea breeze and look at the blue sky and white clouds. Baya patted his leg. Gu Lingqing smiled. His eyes were filled with love. He didn't refuse anymore and lay down beside Baya. He put his right arm behind his head and didn't lean on Baya's leg. He was afraid that she would be tired. Baya looked at his strong facial features. When he was asleep, his lips were tightly pursed like an elegant prince. God was actually kind to her. Although her life was short and she went through hardships, she was given such a good man. Gu Lingqing was too tired. Actually, after they separated, he had been insomnia and fell asleep soon. Baya looked at the blue sky and white clouds, enjoying the moment. After some time, she felt a little sleepy and closed her eyes. After some time, she smelled the delicious smell of grilled fish and opened her eyes. Gu Lingqing had grilled more than 10 fish and was almost done. Sorry, I fell asleep too, Baya apologized. It's okay, you didn't fall into the water, Gu Lingqing said with a smile and passed the pot to her. Try it. Baya smelled it. The The fishy smell was much less. It was the natural smell of fish. She pinched a little and put in her mouth. It's delicious. Seawater is salty. This kind of fish has its own taste and is high in minerals. Eat more. Gu Lingqing continued to grill. He didn't use a spatula and use a knife to turn the fish over. Bai was at the side, quietly deboning the fish. Gu Lingqing grilled half of the fish and prepared a lot of meat. Gu Lingqing didn't take it. He took another whole fish and ate it. All the bones here are deboned, Bai reminded. You eat. I'll do it myself. I'm done. Gu Lingqing looked at Bai. She longed for him to eat the fish she had cooked. He ate the fish she had cooked. Bai showed a happy smile, and he also smiled with her. Don't give it to me. Eat it yourself. All right, Bai replied. After eating, Gu Lingqing threaded the rest of the fish with a thread and put on the parasol. Firstly, it could dry in the sun, and secondly, it could block a little more sunlight. Previously, he used a few mineral water bottles to make distilled water. It was very easy to make. He took a mineral water bottle, cut off the head of the bottle according to the ratio of 1/3, and then inverted it into a 2/3 cup of mineral water. Then, he poured seawater into the 2/3 cup of mineral water. The bottom of the mineral water bottle was removed and placed on top of it in a sealed state. When the sun shone on the seawater in the mineral water bottle, the water would evaporate. If it couldn't get out, it would condense into distilled water and fall back down. Unfortunately, there was no ice, and he couldn't use fire. Otherwise, it would be easy to get the distilled water. Gu Lingqing looked at the distilled water he made, and then looked at the time on his watch. It had been more than 5 hours, and he had only made 1 bottle cap. It was too little. He could only take a sip a day. A normal person's intake of water was at least 1,200 milliliters a day. It was simply not enough. Xiaoya, Gu Lingqing called out, looking troubled. What's wrong? Well, if you want to go on a smuff, the thing we lack the most on the sea is water, Gu Lingqing explained implicitly. Bai instantly understood. She blushed and looked down. She had watched an adventure show before. The adventurer in the show was called Bell. He really ate everything. Deer feces, maggots on dead mice, and the placenta of animals that had started to rot. Before she even started to reach that kind of desperate situation, her stomach already felt uncomfortable. She lay on the wooden plank. Gu Lingqing could see the rejection in her heart. Drink some water first. We'll talk about it later. What time is it now? Bai had changed the topic. Gu Lingqing looked at the time on his watch. 4:20 in the afternoon. Bai did not say anything. She looked at the sky in a daze. Gu Lingqing supported the side of her head with one hand. What are you thinking about? I planned a lot of things for me in the past, but the plans can't keep up with the changes. Now, we can't do anything. If we think too much, we will only get more and more irritated. Who knows, we might not live past a week. Bai sighed. If we can only live for a week, what do you want to do? Gu Lingqing asked seriously. Bai twitched the corner of her mouth. It seems like we can't do anything on the sea. I think it's good this way, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice and looked at her affectionately. At least, we are together. There were a few times when I really wanted to kidnap you. All right, what did you promise Su Jiran so that he would let me go? Bai looked at Gu Lingqing with many complicated thoughts flashing through her eyes. She did not want to tell him that she was infected with the virus. Where she was saved, what awaited Gu Lingqing was despair. He asked you to divorce me and marry Zhou Hailon, Bai said briefly. What else? Gu Lingqing did not believe it. Su Jiran is the commander-in-chief. He specializes in investigating the private lives of the officials. He reports directly to the president, Bai explained. I know. I've always suspected that his identity isn't as simple as directly belonging to the president. It's just that he's very cautious in doing things, and I couldn't find any clues. In addition, you don't have to worry about Lu Shuang. I've already ordered them to immediately rescue Lu Shuang if they find him. Even if I'm not there, they will rescue Lu Shuang. Bai breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you. I think there is no need to thank me between us, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Well, you sleep a little longer. I really won't sleep this time. We will take turns to stay up late. Bai sat up. Okay. Gu Lingqing lay down and closed his eyes to rest. Bai looked at the sea in a daze. When Gu Lingqing woke up again, the sun had already set. Are you hungry? Gu Lingqing asked. Bai shook his head. He did not want to talk because he was thirsty. He checked the fish on the parasol. It had been dried. Gu Lingqing handed the mineral water to Bai. Bai shook his head. He wanted to save as much water as possible. Drink it. It will rain tonight. We have enough water, but the wind and waves will be very strong. For safety, I will tie one of your hands to the plank. You will lie down close to the plank. Do you understand? Gu Lingqing said and closed the parasol. How do you know it will rain? Bai asked in confusion. Gu Lingqing pointed at the sky. It was very dark in the distance. Bai did not speak again. He was faintly afraid. Gu Lingqing tied the parasol onto the plank. The other things were put in mesh bags or plastic bags and tied under the plank. He only put the empty mineral water bottle in one of the big pots. Chapter 298. With him around, there was nothing to be afraid of. If you fasten it for me, what about you? Bai was worried. I'll be fine. If the plank turns over, I'll have to adjust it in time. Gu Lingqing said thoughtfully. If the wind and waves are too strong, your swimming speed won't be able to keep up with the speed of the waves. Bai was worried. Without a plank, Gu Lingqing would die no matter how long she held her breath. I'll tie a very long rope to my hand. That way, I won't fall into the sea. Gu Lingqing saw Bai Ya's worry and comforted her. Can you fasten it firmly? Gu Lingqing smiled. Military buckles. The stronger the wind and waves, the more secure it is. How about the rope? Is it strong? These are specially used by fishermen. They're the strongest. Don't worry. It'll be fine, Gu Lingqing said firmly. Then hold my hand. No matter how strong the wind and waves are, we'll be together. Gu Lingqing liked what she said. No matter how strong the wind and waves are, we'll be together. The heavy rain came a little later than she had expected. The sea breeze came before the heavy rain, and it was stronger than she had imagined. She held Gu Lingqing's hand tightly, while Gu Lingqing's other hand held the pot tightly. Don't worry about the pot. You're in danger, Bai said worriedly. We don't have enough water. This pot of water can last us for a few days. You don't want to drink it either, right? Gu Lingqing insisted. I don't care about anything else except your safety, Bai said. Because of what you said, I have to ensure our safety. I have a clear mind. Don't worry, Gu Lingqing promised. They floated in the wind and waves for more than half an hour before it started to rain heavily. Xiaoya, stick close to the plank. Don't move, Gu Lingqing reminded again. Bai stuck close to the wooden plank. His other hand grabbed the plank tightly. He closed his eyes and held Gu Lingqing's hand tightly with his other hand. The rain pattered on her body. It was very heavy, and soon her hair was all wet. Gu Lingqing released her hand. Bai was startled when he saw Gu Lingqing half squatting and pouring rainwater into the pot. Bai was worried that he would be knocked down by the wind and waves, so she held his arm tightly. Gu Lingqing quickly filled the bottle and put it into the net bag. A strong wind came. He poured out the water in the pot and covered Bai Ya's head with the pot. She lay down. The wooden planks were pushed to a very high height by the waves. Suddenly, they stopped, and the splashing seawater hit them. It was very painful. For the time being, she still had her clothes to protect her. If Gu Lingqing gave her his clothes, he would be in more pain than her. At this moment, the words of concern were stuck in his throat. She couldn't protect him. The only thing she could do was not to be a burden to him anymore. The wooden planks passed through several peaks and then came down. She was really worried that the planks would fall apart. Fortunately, they didn't. She fainted a few times, but after a few seconds, she struggled to wake up. The heavy rain lasted for more than 3 hours. When the wind and waves subsided, Gu Lingqing used the pot to catch some rainwater. What time is it? Bai asked. She was exhausted. Gu Lingqing looked at the time on his watch. It's 1:45. The rain has passed. The wind and waves won't come again for a while. You go to sleep first. I'll keep watch. Baya actually had a lot to say, but she couldn't take it anymore and fainted. After some time, she heard the crisp sound of seagulls and opened her eyes. Gu Lingqing sat on the wooden plank and looked at the flying seagulls thoughtfully. Baya sat up and asked, if there are seagulls, does it mean that there are islands, beaches, reefs, or ports nearby? The possibility of a port is relatively small, but there should be islands or reefs. Gu Lingqing also analyzed and looked around. Thank God. It's good that there's an island. Baya muttered to herself. She couldn't bear the heavy rain that lasted more than 3 hours. If a storm came, they would definitely not be able to survive the wind and rain. Gu Lingqing analyzed the direction of the seagulls. If we go with the wind, we will definitely miss the island. He immediately took out the parasol and faced it at a 45-degree angle towards the wind. Baya didn't understand these things. She just helped him to hold the parasol handle. Do you want to rest? Baya was worried that he would not be able to take it. Gu Lingqing shook his head. Under normal circumstances, we can reach the island within an hour. It's the most dangerous before we reach the island. Other than the waves, there are sometimes undercurrents. If it's not a beach, it might be a cliff. We can't go up, and it's fatal. It was her first time wandering on the sea. She could only trust Gu Lingqing. The wooden boat sailed for more than half an hour. Baya really saw an island in the distance. She said excitedly, Gu Lingqing, look, there's an island. It doesn't look small. Have you heard of the Lost Kingdom? Gu Lingqing asked. Baya didn't understand. What did he mean by saying this at this time? In the past, there was a country. This country was rich in resources and medicinal herbs. However, one day, the sea level rose by a few hundred meters. The island was submerged. None of the people on the island survived. After 100 years, the island surfaced again, but it was already an uninhabited island. After another 100 years, the island was submerged again and again. Gu Lingqing explained. You mean that the island in front is the Lost Kingdom you mentioned? Baya was shocked. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. I just want to tell you this story. Whether the island will be submerged or not, we'll know once we reach the island. As they got closer to the island, Gu Lingqing adjusted the angle of the parasol. Xiaoya, we'll reach the island in about 10 minutes. The beach on the uninhabited island might be fake. It'll collapse. Don't get off the wooden plank. Gu Lingqing reminded her. Then what about you? Baya asked worriedly. Gu Lingqing nodded and glanced at the parasol. I won't get off the plank. I'll just use this. Do you need me to do anything? Yes. Gu Lingqing scooped up all the things hanging under the wooden plank. He placed them on the plank and tied them together. Look after these things. As they neared the beach, the waves felt bigger than when they were on a calm sponge. When the last wave pushed the plank to the beach, Gu Lingqing used the parasol's strength to push the plank to the dry beach. Baya saw many crabs running around. Crabs? Can these crabs be caught and eaten? Baya was surprised. Of course. However, we'd better build a habitable house on high ground as soon as possible. Gu Lingqing said solemnly. He added, there's wolf feces on the ground. The good news is that this island won't be silent. The bad news is that there are wolves around here. Baya's relaxed mood tensed up again. Chapter 299. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing worriedly. She was not afraid of death, but she was afraid that Gu Lingqing would die. He was already a general at such a young age with outstanding military achievements and a powerful background. He might even become the president in a few years. Because of saving her, he became food for the wolves in the wilderness. It was a little pitiful. Gu Lingqing saw Baya's worry and gently rubbed her cheek. Don't worry. The wolves don't come here every day. We'll be fine. Trust me, Gu Lingqing promised. Baya nodded. It was useless for her to be worried. Do you know where this island is? I don't know. There are many islands on the sea, and there are also many islands that no one cares about, especially in the deep sea. Most people will not come here. Even if it is used for military purposes, they will choose a place with convenient geographical conditions. There are no human footprints on the beach here, Gu Lingqing said. He looked around, picked up one of the net bags, and poured out the pot inside. There was a kitchen knife, a dagger, a handgun, and a magazine in the pot. Can your gun still be used? Baya asked, looking at Gu Lingqing with hope. If they had guns, she would feel much safer. Yes. If you're afraid that it can't be used, you can dry it. There are a total of 20 bullets in case of emergencies. What we need to do now is to choose a safe place to sleep. Gu Lingqing threw the dagger to Baya and took the gun and the kitchen knife. When he was about to leave, he looked at the soaked fish. It was dry and smelled. It should still be edible. Xiaoya, dig a hole here. It doesn't need to be too deep, about 10 centimeters. I will pick some leaves and bring it over, Gu Lingqing said. Baya held his hand. I will go with you. Okay. Gu Lingqing wrapped the fish with 4 big leaves. Baya dug the hole. Gu Lingqing put the fish in and covered it with sand. Let's go. Baya followed Gu Lingqing into the forest. Because it was an uninhabited area, the trees grew wildly. They were densely packed, and most of them had large leaves. Gu Lingqing went in while chopping. Baya was helping her from behind, dealing with the fish that had escaped the net. Gu Lingqing chopped out a 1-meter wide and 10-meter long area. He stopped and looked at a tree. What's wrong? Baya asked confusedly. Gu Lingqing twitched the corner of his mouth. Even if we don't have guns, we won't be afraid of beasts. Why? This kind of tree is called poison arrowwood. It's the poison mentioned in wuxia novels. Tomorrow, we'll make some bows and arrows. With this, my archery skills will be the best in my army, Gu Lingqing said confidently. Baya smiled. I have a feeling that we can live in the deep forest for the rest of our lives. Gu Lingqing scratched Baya's nose. If you're accidentally poisoned by the poison arrowwood, the grass below will help you detoxify. Baya sighed. Nature really does counteract each other. Gu Lingqing looked around and pointed at a big tree. We'll set up camp on this tree. Baya looked up. The branches and leaves of the tree were too dense. Will there be snakes up there? Snakes go up to look for food. As long as we clean it. Snakes are timid animals and won't come up, Gu Lingqing explained. He quickly climbed up. His posture was strong and his speed was fast. Baya saw him chopping off the extra branches. She couldn't help. She saw a dead plant not far away. It had a lot of fibers. She wanted to tear it into silk and make a rope, so she chopped it down and threw it under the tree. An hour later, Gu Lingqing had chopped off the extra branches on the 2 trees next to each other. He jumped down from the tree. Baya looked at the tree. Is it too high? It doesn't feel stable. I don't know how to climb trees. Don't worry about that. I'll make a ladder. When the ladder is done, the bark of the tree will fall off. Without the bark, the tree will be smoother. Beasts and the like won't be able to climb up, Gu Lingqing explained. Are we going to move the wooden planks over now? Baya asked. Yes. Gu Lingqing held her hand and walked. Baya felt the heat in his rough palms. Her body felt warm too. She hoped that there would be a boat passing by and rescue him. They moved the wooden planks under the tree and split up. Gu Lingqing chose 8 big branches. Baya helped to clean up the side branches. The 2 trees he chose were facing each other. There were a total of 5 big branches, but they were not at the same height. Gu Lingqing first tied the 8 big branches to the 5 big branches to form a balanced plane. Baya thought it was amazing. You should be a master architect. When my brothers and I went on a mission, we built a simple bed like this in the forest. There's nothing else. We were lucky enough to have wooden planks, so this bed should be quite comfortable, Gu Lingqing said with a smile. Baya thought about sleeping on the same bed with him tonight. She had a strange feeling in her heart. She didn't have this feeling when she was floating on the sea. She lowered her head and continued to weave the rope. Gu Lingqing jumped down from the tree and tied the rope to the middle of the wooden bed. What's wrong? Baya asked, puzzled. You can't lift this wooden plank later. I'll pull it from the top, Gu Lingqing explained. Baya nodded. The position Gu Lingqing chose was too high. It was more than 3 meters high. She was 165 centimeters higher. The width of the bed was 6 meters and the length was 8 meters. She had to lift it to the top of her head. She probably didn't have enough strength. Gu Lingqing climbed up first. Baya used all her strength. Gu Lingqing pulled the rope and finally put the first wooden plank on the top. He placed it firmly, He even built a 25-degree tilt. Gu Lingqing jumped down from the tree and looked at the time. It was already 12:20 in the afternoon. "Are you hungry?" Gu Lingqing asked. Baya nodded. In fact, her stomach was growling an hour ago. "Our fish should be almost ready." "Let's go," Gu Lingqing said. Baya looked at the beach. Panic flashed in her eyes. She pointed at the beach. "What's that black thing?" Gu Lingqing followed Baya's gaze and looked over. The corner of her lips curled up slightly. "Xiaoya, we're lucky. God sent us food so quickly. That's a wild boar." Gu Lingqing ran over excitedly. "Be careful," Baya said worriedly. Gu Lingqing ran over. The wild boar was eating their fish. It heard the noise and turned around. Gu Lingqing took the opportunity to shoot. The bullet was fired at the wild boar's head. The wild boar swayed a few times and fell to the ground, motionless. Baya looked at the wild boar on the ground. Although she had eaten pork before, she had never killed a pig. "Do you know how to kill a pig?" Baya asked Gu Lingqing. Chapter 300. Gu Lingqing was going to skin the wild boar at the beach because he was worried that the smell of blood would attract more wild beasts. Baya moved a lot of stones and stacked them together. On one side, they could block the sea breeze and make a fire. On the other side, they could put a pot. Because it rained last night, many dead trees and leaves were not dry. She carried some and put them on the beach to dry. Gu Lingqing was afraid that she would get sunburned, so he gave her the umbrella to use. He also made a tool to drill wood to make a fire. The way to make it was to drill 2 holes in the wood and put the rope that Baya made into it. Using the principle of rotation, Baya only needed to pull the rope, and the wood would spin quickly. This method was faster than using the palm of the hand, and it was also less laborious. Baya was lucky. It took her more than an hour to make the fire. She looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing chopped off the wild boar's head and let the blood out. All the blood was put into the pot and poured into the sea. He did not know how to deal with the wild boar's head, so he put it in a plastic bag and prepared to find a place to bury it later. Baya walked towards him. Gu Lingqing cut open the wild boar's stomach, and there were a lot of messy things inside. "Why don't we just eat the meat and throw away the messy things inside?" "I don't eat animal organs," Gu Lingqing said to Baya. Baya glanced at Gu Lingqing. She knew how to deal with it, but without cooking wine and ginger, these things would probably be very smelly and would not be able to eat. "Okay," Baya replied. Gu Lingqing put all the internal organs together with the boar's head. "Well, we need suet so that we can cook it. Maybe there will be wild vegetables. By the way, keep the pig's heart," Baya said again. Gu Lingqing, Baya realized that she had gone back on her words, so she was a little embarrassed and smiled dryly. It was already 15 o'clock in the afternoon when Gu Lingqing dealt with the wild boar. Baya went to boil the lard in the wok. Gu Lingqing cut the meat from the wild boar leg into slices for easy stir-frying. They had a pot, oil, and salt, but no spatula. Baya took a branch and stir-fried it. At 16 o'clock, they finally ate the meat. "Let's go pick up more deadwood later. The sun will set in 1 to 2 hours. I'm afraid that it won't dry out, so we have to keep the fire burning throughout the night. On one hand, it will provide light, and on the other hand, it will allow us to see ships passing by at night," said Baya. Let's just make do with the first day. We'll be able to prepare more things tomorrow." Baya nodded. Gu Lingqing wrapped the rest of the wild boar meat in a plastic bag and put it on their wooden bed. When they went to the forest to pick up the dead wood, Gu Lingqing brought back the plastic bag containing the wild boar's head, skin, and internal organs. It was very early in the forest. At 16:45 o'clock, there was no light coming in. They did not dare to go too deep. They walked along the beach. When they were about 2 kilometers away, they saw a bamboo forest. Gu Lingqing, "Look, there's bamboo." "Dead bamboo is easier to catch fire than wood," said Baya excitedly. "Let's go." Gu Lingqing held her hand and ran. Baya picked up the dead wood and tied it up with a rope. Gu Lingqing used the bamboo to dig a hole 30 centimeters deep and buried the wild boar in a plastic bag. When they went back, Gu Lingqing chopped the thickest bamboo. Baya dug up 6 fresh, small bamboos, and each of them carried a bundle of bamboos back. The sun slowly went down. The sky was bright red, and the scenery was particularly beautiful. The sea breeze blowing on their faces was particularly comfortable. Baya looked at Gu Lingqing's resolute and cold side profile, and the corner of her mouth slightly raised. If she didn't only have a month to live, she really wanted to live with him on the island for the rest of her life. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya and caught her gaze. Baya lowered his head guiltily, and his eyes flickered. Gu Lingqing chuckled. "Are you going to shower later?" "Yes. Nowadays, there's a treatment called sea bathing. Seawater contains a lot of minerals such as potassium, sodium, magnesium, sulfur, etc. It can also kill bacteria. Many people use sea bathing to treat skin diseases, weight loss, and beauty. It's said that the fees are very high. Now that I'm here, it's free of charge." Baya amused himself. Said, "I'll give it a try later. Make sure where you can go. Bathing in the sea is good, but it's also very risky. Many people die from swimming in the sea every year," Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Yes, they arrived at the previous place. Baya spread out the bamboo. Although the sun had gone down, the sea breeze could take away the humidity. The bamboo was flammable, so they could use it tonight. However, they might have to come out in the middle of the night to add it a few times. Gu Lingqing went into the water first. He took off his coat and pants, revealing his strong body. Although they had done it many times, she still felt embarrassed. He didn't look at her anymore and went to move a lot of stones over to strengthen the wind wall. "Xiaoya." Gu Lingqing walked towards her with a net bag. Baya saw that there were many crabs, sea urchins, abalones, and sea cucumbers in the net bag. This place hasn't been developed, so it's rich in resources. There's so many things underneath. I've picked up so many in a short while. "We'll have supper tonight," Gu Lingqing said with a smile, and poured all the things into the pot. Baya was also surprised. She had wanted to spend a holiday by the sea a long time ago. She wanted to enjoy the sea breeze and eat seafood leisurely, without being disturbed by the secular world. Now, it had come true, but in such an unintentional way. "There's not much fresh water left. Let's use seawater to cook it. After a while, it should be ready to eat," Baya said happily. "Okay, I'll cook it. You go take a bath first. You can only swim 20 meters at most. Don't go too far. It's dangerous when it gets dark." Gu Lingqing took another pot and went to the seaside to scoop up water. He took out the sea urchins, sea cucumbers, and abalones, and specially cooked the crabs. Baya took off her coat and pants and went to swim. She only swam for 5 minutes and came back. She didn't have any physical strength. If she swam too much, she was afraid that it would be dangerous. Gu Lingqing had already broken the sea urchin. It was the first time that Baya saw this kind of fresh sea urchin. There were 5 small pieces of something that looked like yellow in it. "This can be eaten raw. Do you want to eat it?" Gu Lingqing passed the broken sea urchin to Baya. Baya took the sea urchin and sat on the stone next to him. She ate a little. It was sticky and a little sweet, but she wasn't used to it. She passed the sea urchin to Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing ate all the yellow stuff in one gulp. He ate the remaining 3. Baya saw that he didn't have any strange expression. "Is it delicious?" "Yes, it's quite sweet," Gu Lingqing replied. "Then you should eat more." Gu Lingqing looked at Baya. "Do you know the effects of sea urchins? Seafood and the like are very high in minerals. It's probably calcium and zinc supplements," Baya guessed. Sea urchins contain a lot of structural proteins that are unique to the sex glands of animals, such as lecithin. It's a bioactive substance with male hormones. It can improve one's X function and intelligence, increase immunity, lower cholesterol, prevent animal sclerosis, and has a very good aphrodisiac effect, Gu Lingqing explained. He said a lot more after that, but Baya didn't hear it clearly. She only remembered improving one's X function. She cleared her throat awkwardly, turned her face away, and drank some water. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.